All right, let's listen in to Josh Berry's radio.
All right, man, he's done a great job all day yesterday. We appreciate being up there in third. You're great at this road track stuff, man. So we'll follow you as far as track trends, which way to go, and we'll just keep adjusting on this thing. We'll try to keep you up there all day. 10-4.
I agree with the crew chief. I agree with Taylor Moore. You know, Josh Berry, while this is a 1 mile track bigger than your local short track, it races like one. And I think all of those skill sets that made him so good in late models, he can lean on today, trying to find that preferred lane for his car.
Joey Meyer, an established spotter, is actually spotting for Josh Berry today. TJ Majors not here at the racetrack. And Chandler Smith, John Hunter Nemechek bring the field to the green flag. Josh Berry almost making it 3 wide for second as they work through 1 and 2 for the first time.
You see already all the way down to the apron, using all of the track available and then some. I think that's the 11 of Hemrick all the way on the inside there. Now everyone's single file, at least the top 4 into turn 3.
And look how quickly that 7 of Justin Allgaier is already fighting for not only the lead, but now he's got a little bit of pressure behind him for that second spot. John Hunter Nemechek dropped back to the 3rd spot. He's using the apron. Shortest way around this racetrack, but also the flattest. Now, once again, the 7 looks to the inside, trying to take the top spot away from Chandler Smith.
Very nice move. Good run off turn 2. Now he just has to be careful not to slide up too much and allow the 16 to pull a crossover. He was able to shut the door. That should comfortably give him the lead.
So Allgaier out front. Smith running second. Nemechek and Josh Berry the top 4. Cole Custer in 5th.
You see the battle on the bottom of your screen. Sam Mayer in that blue number 1. Parker Kligerman, the orange 48, the 2, as well as the 25.
NASCAR's taking a peek at the start of this race to make sure everything was fair. And once again, Chandler Smith now fighting back, but he's got John Hunter Nemechek trying to take his spot away.
Now Chandler Smith in that 16 has to decide, is he going to try to continue to defend his outside position or just let the 20 go and try to pull in line by the 8? I think the 8 might be too close. Oh, he's a little bit fortunate. The 8 was under attack as well. The 00 of Cole Custer, that kind of hurt the 8's ability to turn left and have that low exit off turn 2.
Looking down on the track, the different lines that these drivers will be taking. Cole Custer, once again, looking to the inside of that 8 of Josh Berry.
He's there. He's by himself. Clear by 3 to the 9.
There you go. That was the voice of Joey Meyer, as you pointed out. And while Joey has a lot of experience, it's still going to sound different. The inflection, the information, how it's delivered. You know, at a track, most of this is better than super speedway, but still in those close proximity racing areas right there on the restarts, when you're in close quarters, that information is crucial.
Allgaier has a little over 2-second or 0.2 of a second lead over Nemechek. But you see Nemechek now following right in his tire tracks.
I think
now looks low.
We'll see if he's able to complete the pass. I talked to John Hunter about this. Oh, I think he's in a good position about this weekend. He was so good at Richmond, and they kind of got on the wrong side of the pit strategy. He knows how good of a car he had, and he was looking forward to this opportunity. Here we go. A battle for the lead and a battle for 3rd.
Out front, John Hunter Nemechek still right on the driver's side door of Allgaier, and Allgaier using that second line perfectly.
And you see how he rolls that middle corner speed. He gives the 20 more than enough room, but he knows that if he takes that outside lane on exit, the 20 just cannot power down. Now the 7 clears him. He's going to open that whole bottom up. That's total trust. Allgaier is going to give the left rear quarter panel to the 20, and as I say that, 20 hits him in the bumper.
John Hunter Nemechek decided he's going to let him know, I'm still behind you. I'm right here. Not letting you get anywhere. They're door to door once again for the lead.
Well, Allgaier's not going to give it to him. He's just going to let the car go up over that seam that we talked about earlier and just keep this momentum on exit.
Slid right out to the wall while these two are fighting for that top spot. Cole Custer in the 00. A lot of momentum for that 00 team. John Hunter Nemechek running the 7 up the track just a bit, diamonding the track.
That just shows that experience that Justin Allgaier talked about. That takes a lot of experience to defend that top lane. That's what makes him so good at these tracks, because now John Hunter's instantly, now not just out the windshield, but now he has a mirror full of the 00. Will he try to go 3 wide?
Here comes Cole Custer. He's on the back.
On the bottom.
And now the 20 nosing ahead. Can he clear him as they come out of 4?
Oh, there's the 7. You see him get loose right there, trying to turn off that upper lane. And that makes the 20's job so much easier. Now, settle in, put some good laps, try to get away from the 7.
Nemechek out front.
Cool down a little bit now.
First lap sled.
I knew what I was doing right there.
I knew what I was doing. I like hearing Justin Allgaier say that. John Hunter Nemechek, first lap sled here at New Hampshire in the Xfinity Series.
Brandon Jones in the 11, that white and colorful number 11.
Brandon Jones in the 9.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I was thinking Daniel Hemrick behind him in the 11. If I said the name, it would make more sense, Rick. It did in my head.
Marty, how about that 7?
Well, you guys heard the radio transmission from Justin Allgaier. That was Eddie DeHaan saying, cool your stuff down here because the 00's coming quick. And he said, my stuff's cool. I knew what I was doing there. So the long run was really the specialty for the 7, but the 00's so good on the short run. That's where that speed's showing up now, Steve.
Yeah, and what they're talking about with cooling your stuff, it's not the engine, it's the actual tires. You can just work them a little bit harder. They lose a little grip. If you drive your car a little bit straighter, don't abuse them as much, the grip can come back.
So already 3 different drivers have been up front. Chandler Smith started there. Allgaier took the spot away, and then John Hunter Nemechek has grabbed it. Fans, make sure to download the official app of NASCAR. It allows you to follow all the action with free live scoring. There's in-car cameras as well as radio broadcasts. All you have to do is search NASCAR in your app store, and you can start a free trial today. The gap about 0.8 of a second now between John Hunter Nemechek and Allgaier. It was tightening up, but now John Hunter Nemechek putting together a couple good laps and separating himself from second. Then it's Cole Custer back there in third. He's a little under a second behind Nemechek. Chandler Smith, the pole winner, has dropped back to fourth. Josh Berry holding on to a 5th place position. And a man on the move, Steve just mentioned, Sammy Smith has moved up to the 17th position, Kim.
That's right, Rick, and a great shot from the Toyota onboard camera of Sammy Smith. He has just made a steady ascent through the field, the biggest mover, in fact, plus 16 positions from his 33rd starting position. And this comes to no surprise for crew chief Jeff Mendering, who told me this morning, because of how well Sammy did earlier in the year at short track, specifically Phoenix, where they won, and how fast they were in practice, they feel like they should be able to drive through to the top 10 before the end of stage 1, Marty.
Kim, for a team with championship aspirations, today is a pretty big day for Austin Hill in that blue and white number 21 car right there on the outside, trying to go around Austin Dillon. Talking to his crew chief, Andy Street, he said, you know, the short tracks have really been the weakest part of our entire program, but I feel like we took a decent step at Phoenix. If we might be in that championship 4, we need to learn some things today that will help us there. A top 5 would be a huge step for us, Dave.
Marty, Brandon Jones is far from that championship 4 right now. 81 points below the cut line with 9 races remaining. He's got to get something started. And a few moments ago, he was radioed by his team to regroup. Had tried some things, really hasn't gained or lost any positions. But Steve, I'm wondering, at this racetrack, how many times have you seen your driver doing things, trying things, and you need to remind them just to regroup?
Well, it's tough because you want them searching. There's a lot a driver can do behind the lane to help, or behind the wheel to help lap time. You can run a straight kind of diamond situation. You can run the arc of the corner, but I appreciate the searching, but if nothing's working, I need you to settle back in and kind of go back to what was working. We have 24 laps to go in this stage. Let's just try not to lose any more positions. Back to Sammy Smith, I agree that they could drive up into the top 10. The challenge for the 18 is going to just be, what don't they learn about their race car? Because they're back here fighting traffic. He's pushing the car harder. Will they just make all the right adjustments? So far, so good, though, for the 18 on the bottom of your screen riding on board there. Justin Allgaier making a move at the top for the lead.
Yeah, Steve, that long run speed showing up for Justin Allgaier. So we heard him say a few things on the radio. Take a listen.
Diamond is better. 4, I'm just playing the game here, boys.
His lap there, a little better than him.
Yeah, just 4, I'm just studying at the moment. I know where he's weak.
So there you go. Are you cool, Steve, if your driver tells you, hey, settle down, I know what I'm doing here. I'm trying to study the guy in front of me.
Well, I'm cool if my driver's Justin Allgaier. I mean, he won here a year ago. You know, he's won 20 Xfinity races in his career, so he knows what he needs behind the wheel. And it's interesting, he's taken that time to see what the 20, where they're good, where they're weak. I think the 7 knows that his car's not the best on new tires. Hang around, and then look right here what it does on old tires. Just really rotates, points down the racetrack a little bit better.
I love his confidence. You know, I love the fact he said, hey, I'm just playing games, messing around, but this 20 is not going to be an easy pass. You know, John Hunter is a really good race car driver, driving really good equipment. Here goes Allgaier at the bottom, but just like we saw the race earlier, that 20 car is going to get better rear grip, running a little bit higher.
Allgaier raced John Hunter Nemechek really hard for the lead, and then once John Hunter Nemechek got out in front, it looked as though John Hunter Nemechek had a better car and was pulling away, but it sounds to me like Allgaier is just sizing up his competition, watching what John Hunter Nemechek does and seeing if he can get by Nemechek and seeing where the weaknesses are.
I liked what he did last time in 3 and 4, Jeff, that high middle. He tried to turn it down into a diamond on exit. I thought he was going to pull that Kevin Harvick high middle high exit. It looks funny, but it works right here. We'll see if he stays high all the way off the corner. Nope. Once again, he turns down, tries a low exit.
Yeah, you talked about Kevin Harvick. We've seen him a lot of times in these cup races. Just open the exit up off turn 4. Now I got to go right to the bottom. So much less banking down there than where the 20 is. Both are new asphalt, but on that bottom lane, there's less banking than it is in the second lane.
And this is what can make the finishes of these races here at the Magic Mile so exciting, is to defend, you really almost got to allow that guy trying to pass you the bottom lane on entry. Man, it's inviting. If I can slide up, you don't have to make much contact. I mean, just a little lean on these cars, and you can kind of slide them up out of the groove.
A lot of pressure being put on the 20 by the 7 of Allgaier. Allgaier now really low on exit, and he gets upside to the 20.
So that's the best run he's had. Now what's he going to do? Is he going to try to outbrake him? He does. Drives in deep. Is he going to just pull up and take the lane away? That's exactly what he does. John Hunter recognized it, checked up a little bit, then tried to cross him over. That's the counter to that move. Intentionally slow up. Turn the car, stand in the gas to drive back under him, but I think Allgaier's in the preferred spot now.
I think he did. I think he knew the 20 would cross him over, but he feels he can finish the pass from the top. We'll see if he is able to clear him on corner exit. 20 is hanging tough.
Okay, now John Hunter, you just saw what he did to you. Let's see if you're willing to do it. No, Allgaier actually outbroke him into the corner.
Quarter. Still quarter. Good, take it, tucked in. Take it.
Right on his back bumper. And Allgaier still fighting with Nemechek. Now the 7 clears it. We'll see if Allgaier, we had heard that he had a long run car. We'll see if it continues. Took him 21 laps to get back to the lead. And Allgaier has cleared the 20, but here comes John Hunter Nemechek one more time. Taking a peek, but Allgaier still holding on. Now lap traffic coming into play. As you see a few cars in front of the 7.
Oh, that time John Hunter got him loose. Didn't hit him, but just pulled the air off his spoiler. But Allgaier just does such a good job of driving into the corner on that outside, not let John Hunter get that position.
We'll see if he's going to use these cars in front of him as a pick. Mason Massey right in front of him in the 08s and not allowing that 7 to run the line. A little contact is made. Nemechek got into the side of the 7.
You said it, and John Hunter and Allgaier both know it. This lap traffic is going to play a factor. How high up the racetrack do they go?
Here comes Custer. He's right in the mix as well in the 00. He's running 3rd. But this lap traffic is causing problems for the 7 of Allgaier, trying to negotiate through. And as they run up that high line, Allgaier right along the bottom of the racetrack. Take another look at the contact made here.
Well, you're thinking the 7, you see, he's going to try to run 3 wide. And the 20, you know, he believes the 7's going to slide up a little closer to the lap car, even be stuck behind him. He wants to take kind of that extra half a lane in the middle, and Allgaier did not want to give it to him. And poor Nemechek was kind of committed on his entry speed.
It looked like they were both committed. Allgaier out front. He has led 13 laps, Nemechek 18 as they continue to battle. a great shot of all of the campers, the fans enjoying a great event here. The aerial coverage brought to you by Pods. Moving this summer, save up to 30% at pods.com today. Allgaier is the race leader. This is the battle for second right now. Allgaier has stretched it out to about 8 to 9 car lengths, but the fight for second between Nemechek and Custer starting to heat up. And we also have a battle for the 8th spot. Hemrick in the 11 with Sam Mayer heating things up for him.
I looked out of the window a minute ago and I saw Sam Mayer on the apron of the racetrack trying to get by the 11. These guys are going at it hard. You can see right there, Mayer throttles up, and he's not even on the racetrack. He's on the apron of the exit of turn 2, trying to find a way around Hemrick.
Under 7 laps to go in stage 1. And the elder statesman, Allgaier, apparently when he was talking to his team, it's working out. He's learning a lot from the other drivers. Here's that, what you mentioned about Mayer, not even on the racetrack, down on the apron.
Yeah, we see this on restarts, Steve. We see, drivers trying to make stuff happen on restarts, but you're not going full pace yet, because you just launched on the front straightaway. But Sam shifted in there and said, I'm going to try to make something work. Great battle here, Marty.
Up front, Justin Allgaier leading now 21 laps when he crosses the line. He told his team before the race, just so you know, I want this one really bad. You can tell he's driving very determined. What did he think of that battle for the lead with John Hunter Nemechek? Listen in.
Yeah, he tried to take the left rear tire out already. Laterally, I need a little bit on exit, but I'm a little tight center. The tighter I get center, the less I have on exit. Balance is pretty good, though. Just tired of getting raced like a donkey.
I'm tired of being raced like a donkey. Steve, what's your take on that? Do you agree with Justin Allgaier's assessment?
Well, I understand why the 7 is frustrated by it, but in the end, he's the elder statesman of the series, but some of these younger drivers don't really care, and I think that's acceptable, right? They're trying to continue on their careers. I mean, I understand his frustration, especially with that left rear, but I think there was no harm, no foul.
Back it down, stay top, stay top.
Oh, at the 38 backwards.
So Chris Hacker is turned around, the 23-year-old out of Noblesville, Indiana.
So take your time here, try and get it fired up. They're kind of all lined up at the wall.
Morgan & Morgan onboard camera showing the difficulty of trying to get this thing turned around and go in the right direction.
Now the good news for the leaders is I think it's close enough to the stage end that it will just end the stage.
That right rear gone for Hacker. This just
We got a right front down.
His second start in the Xfinity Series this year. You see probably the tire going down there as he came out of the turn.
Yeah, so I think this will end the stage, Rick. And the reason I say that's good for the leaders is because if there was a chance for a couple lap shootout, some guys would pit. Let's go on board. I think he just loses grip on corner exit.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake.
Not the first, not the last here at New Hampshire.
Hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake, hold the brake. Get it.
And this will end the stage, so it will end under caution. That means Allgaier is going to get his 5th stage win of 2023. coming back. You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from New Hampshire. It's the Ambetter Health 200. And final lap of stage 1 under caution here. And it will be Allgaier that will be getting the win. You see a lot of smoke coming out from the 44. So Raja Carruth, an issue with that circle.com.
What's going on, Raj?
I don't know. I just lost oil pressure coming to you.
Oh, here. Your helmet's on. Big time out the right front here, Frank.
And you saw the fluid on the camera.
We'll get the hood up and see what's going on.
That's the stage win for Allgaier. As we heard the other issues for Raja Carruth. He's on pit road making his way down now. See all that fluid on the camera out the back. He had mentioned that he had lost oil pressure.
Starts to smoke. You can see the fluid on the camera, so that and oil pressure, that's never a good combination.
Disappointing young driver trying to get some laps, get as much experience as he can. Race is only 45 laps in and just going to give up a great deal of opportunity to learn.
line come off there. The Wiggins line broke.
Oh, the Wiggins line broke. So.
Yeah. So the Wiggins is basically like a clamp style fitting. So you have oil lines, some have like a hex, like you would imagine you tighten it like a bolt or a nut, but some it's called a Wiggins. And what it is it goes there and it's like a C-clamp. It kind of goes around and clamps to itself. It's a style of fitting. And it's interesting they said broke. I give it an over-under whether it's broke or just not completely installed. I've seen both.
All right, the field on its way down pit road, and pit stop's about to take place. We'll start with Marty.
Rick, you want to sum up New Hampshire in one statement from a driver? 2 free on entry, 2 tight in the center, 2 free on exit. That's what Cole Custer had to say. And then he said, help my entry first. Justin Allgaier said, the tighter the center gets, the worse my exit is. They're going to make an air pressure change and also an adjustment for Justin Allgaier, and a bit of a slow stop there for the 7 days.
If John Hunter Nemechek could get into the corner more aggressively, he could be better because he's having to wait before he turns the car. They're going to make an adjustment for that. 4 Goodyear tires, Sunoco fuel. There is a race off pit road, Rick.
A very tight race off pit road, and you see Allgaier losing a spot. Chandler Smith with that pole win got the top spot, and so wins the race off pit road. Allgaier overshooting his stall, and that's an issue. They can't go to work on that until he's inside the stall. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by Progressive. Save when you bundle motorcycle, RV, and boat insurance. Visit Progressive.com. Take a look at this pit stop for Justin Allgaier. Listen in on the radio.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Back up, back him up, back him up, back him up, back him up. Let it down, back him up. 2 tires, 2 tires, 2 tires. Go, 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 go.
as long as they slid. I think the lefts are flat spotted, buddy.
Hopefully they're not vibrating.
All right, so that the last thing you heard was Justin Allgaier thinking maybe the left side has a flat spot. You see the mistake by the driver sliding along. Jim Pullman instantly, we talk about track position. That is very quick thinking. He had to make a decision. A, are the left sides flat spotted? B, can I keep up in only 2 tires? Or is it worth going back to extra 10 or 15 spots we're going to lose? Clear communication and an A-plus job by the pit crew. If they take those right side tires off, that's service. That's service outside the pit box. That's a big penalty. So great work from the 7 all around. But in the end, just a mistake by a veteran, 20-time race winner, Justin Allgaier.
Let's bring in the Peacock pit box with DJ and Dale Earnhardt Jr. And we're hearing that the 7 is going to get a penalty for pitting outside the box. So something must have been done. Potentially fuel was added when they were still up. But let's bring him in. Overconfident, maybe the 7 of Justin Allgaier winning that first stage?
Well, I think they ought to be confident as good as they're running, Rick, but that's a tough situation for them. Now they have to come from the back of the field in stage 2, and that pulls them out of that battle that we saw between 3 drivers who I believe may be battling for the title at the end of the season. But let's talk about the cut line and what the drivers did in the first stage to help or hurt their chances for the playoffs.
Yeah, so let's remember that there's 12 drivers that make the playoffs in this Xfinity series, and those are Sheldon Creed, Riley Hurt, and Parker Kligerman, who sits in that 13th. Well, those 3 drivers finished 11th, 12th, and 13th after that first stage, so nothing was done there. Nobody gained any points there, so you can see what this real battle is going to be for these next 9 races for those drivers.
Yeah, Rick, and at a track where track position matters, mistakes on pit road for any of those drivers like the 7 had will take them out of a great result today.
Yeah, what looked like a dominant performance for Justin Allgaier now is in a situation where he's going to have to fight his way from the back to the front.
All right, so let's go back to the 7 again. I didn't see any service taking place, but you cannot do anything. No fuel, no lug nuts. Now let the jack man jack the car up, but look at the rear. So the rear guy, this is very hard, but as we freeze it right here, the guy in the back, you see the front right here. He hasn't taken any lug nuts off. He's not even servicing the car because he can see the line. Well, the rear tire changer, it's really up to him to know how far he has run around the car, like we're too long in the box. He hits the wheel, takes the lug nut off. It's only 1 lug nut, but this is a rule that was adjusted a few years ago. You could do nothing to your car outside the box, defined by service. The jack, they don't penalize. But if you take a lug nut off or if you put fuel in, Marty, that's a penalty.
Yeah, initially Jim Pullman was very upset when they made the call, but he talked to the NASCAR official and did confirm via our video they touched that 1 lug nut on that right side. So he said, hey, if we're going to be at the back, obviously, Steve, this is an easy call to make, right? You come in, you put the left side tires on the car, and there's him arguing the call and the official explaining exactly what happened.
So, look, it's always easy to say in hindsight, but what will be reviewed this week to that rear changer is when you come off the wall, if you take 2, 3, 4 steps to your left, you need to kind of look for that signal that we're too long. But, you know, so many times if you're 6 inches to the good, Jeff, then you're telling that tire changer, why'd you wait? We need to get this stop going. So in the end, it comes down to the driver putting his car on the sign where it needs to be in the box.
And Steve, I want to clarify because we saw this out of I believe it was Chase Elliott's crew maybe a year or 2 ago. If he would have put the lug nut on before he came back into that pit box, so he would have made the correction of doing work and put it back on, and then they back up, would there still have been a penalty?
I think if they could have proven they put the 1 lug nut back on, but that would be hard to do. And you think in that confusion at this point, once you take a lug nut off, really this kind of started because cars would leave with a lug nut missing, stop, and have one tightened outside the box. So NASCAR cleaned it up, and I understand it's frustrating, but I agree with the call. There was service with car outside the box.
Penalty for the 7. After winning stage 1, they'll have to restart stage 2 in the back. Written and directed by Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer is an IMAX shot epic thriller that thrusts audiences into the pulse-pounding paradox of the enigmatic man who must risk destroying the world in order to save it. Only at theaters July 21st. Tickets on sale now. Pit road, a difficult spot for a couple teams. The 18 and 19 both were speeding on pit road, so they'll have to go to the back as well. Take a look at stage 1 points. Allgaier winning the stage gets those 10 points, which is great, and a playoff point for winning the stage, but now pays the penalty for the issue that they had, and he'll have to start at the back.
Yeah, we're on board with Sammy Smith right here. You mentioned with speeding. He started at the back, drove all the way up inside the top 15, got that speeding penalty, so, you know, he's going to have to do it again. Dave?
Chandler Smith assumes the lead then. He'll make his choice there to the high side in the 16 car. He said this on the radio right before the pit stop.
All right, I do believe the track and everything's going to start tightening up for us, so how much do you need an adjustment? How much will the track come to us?
Just because I don't have any history knowledge on here, I don't know how much the track's going to come to us, but I need about a number with these conditions.
No history knowledge, guys. First time here for Chandler Smith, so he's like, help me out. And they've got the good restart position here. We'll see what they did to the race car.
So you heard him say I need a number. So every team, well, most teams have a scaling system, maybe 1 to 10 or 1 to 5. And so what he's saying is if they have a 1 to 10 scale, he needs 10% better. He needs 10% of a change if the track doesn't change. He put it on a screw chief. He said, look, I don't have history here. You do. Right now, I need a 1 number change. If you think that means change nothing, then we're going to change nothing. But you have to tell me where this track's going to go.
Well, if it's a 1 number because I'm already too tight, you better go 2. Because I agree with Bruce Slicker there that this track is going to tighten up. That's where history would say, tighter you get in the middle, the worse you drive off gifts, everything goes bad.
This is going to be a sprint right here. There's only 37 laps in this stage, so buckle up, we'll roll.
That's what the drivers are doing. And again, we'll see how far the 7 can get back up to the front after having to restart toward the rear. Good battle up front. Chandler Smith with a great restart. And John Hunter Nemechek looking inside for the lead early.
We talked in the pre-race about Brandon Jones below the cut line and what this day could mean. Well, now that the 7 has had an issue, he's that bright yellow number 9 on the bottom. He has to kind of look at this as an opportunity.
And where do drivers go? See that staining on the racetrack? That's the speedy drive from that oil. A lot of them didn't want to go in it. They straddled it. Brandon Jones now in the middle of 3 wide, trying to get to that top lane.
Yeah, fell back just a bit with the 0-0 to Cole Custer on his inside. And Cole Custer trying to get by Josh Berry in the 8.
And the 10 car, Austin Dillon got really loose getting in the corner. Almost took some guys with him. Now he's in the middle of 3 wide.
Saw Sam Mayer in the 1 try to work his way up. There's the 48 of Parker Kligerman coming into the mix as well.
2 of Creed, he is absolutely sideways back there. That red and white car.
Door to door, 4 position, the 48 on the inside of the 10. Austin Hill in the 21, also working to the inside of Chandler Smith in the 16. Hill able to hold it right there on the double white line.
So Hill tried to overdrive the corner into 3, and it didn't work out for him. Look how early he turns. He turns way early, gets away from the 16. That really hurts his angle of attack. What you'd like to do is stay close to the 16 a little bit longer and then turn into the corner. But with these cars, Steve, being close to somebody side by side makes that inside car very loose.
Yeah, on the bottom of the screen, you see that 7 stage 1 winner of Justin Allgaier, currently in the 25th position, trying to be patient through traffic. But, you know, it's this battle of patience versus I have to go. You mentioned it's a short sprint in stage 2, but that 3rd stage is still north of 100 laps. So kind of pick and chooses. I'm kind of comparing him to the 18 to Sammy Smith, who you don't see in the screen, and that's because he is in front of the 7. He kind of got through traffic a little bit quicker.
Brandon Jones just in front of the 98 of Riley Herbst, and Riley now looking to the inside of Brandon.
Look at Riley now. He's trying to run that apron. You know, it's interesting. There comes Austin Hill back underneath Chandler Smith. Austin finished the first stage in 10th. Now he is sitting there racing Chandler for second. Steve, it's so interesting, these guys racing each other, running lines. They never even think about running in practice. I mean, they have to run somewhere. They got to go where the guy in front of you isn't. And no one was running these lines in practice. And now here they are in the race, Marty, having to try something different.
And what a stop for the 21 bunch. They gave Austin Hill a lot of spots, and he's trying to hold off Cole Custer right there. But they told him on the radio, Jeff, you're better in 1 and 2 than you are in 3 and 4. That's where you really need to work on things. So how difficult, Jeff, is it to kind of hit both ends of the track here at New Hampshire behind the wheel?
It's very difficult. It's very difficult for the team to get the car to drive good in both ends of the racetrack, too. They look very similar, but they're not. The back straightaway is downhill. There's big bumps into turn 3. It completely changes the way you approach 3 versus 1. You can attack turn 1. They are very different corners. The exit of 2 is tight. Looks the same, but they're not.
See all that stuff that Jeff just said when we talk about preparation during the week? That's what younger drivers have to do. Jeff has so many laps here, he can just rattle that off of what this track is. But if you're one of these young drivers, you need to go back to your notes or your teammates' notes about how the corners drive different. So you can expect a certain field to make sure maybe you just don't have something that can be fixed.
Well, Steve, there are 10 drivers in this field that have never run in the Xfinity Series at this racetrack. So 10 first-time starts here.
I think Steve is 100% right. Like, what is an acceptable amount of driving bad, right? I mean, nobody's car is driving perfect, I promise you. Every one of them is complaining about something, but some can go faster doing it than others. So what is acceptable? What can you deal with and what you can't deal with?
Yeah, Truex, right, at Cup practice, when we talked to him, he said, my car's doing all of this stuff wrong, but it's pretty fast, so it kind of feels like New Hampshire.
Well, we saw Cole Custer in the 00 work his way to the inside, and then the crossover move by Hill.
But what Cole Custer did there is he gave Hill the bottom. Like, he wants the top. He feels like if he can get on the top of Austin Hill, he's going to make this pass. So he got underneath Austin, overdrove the entry, went completely up the racetrack. Austin drove underneath him, but Custer said, it's fine. I'm in the position I want. I want to be in the outside lane. That is years of Cup racing. That's experience right there you saw from Cole Custer.
And we saw Josh Berry now use that outside line. He also has been able to get by Austin Hill. So Berry up to the 4th position.
And the driver that I think might have the best car in New Hampshire, when we never find out, is the 18 of Sammy Smith. Started shotgun, drove to 15th, started at the back this run, and now he's up to 17th, and this is on board. Look at this right here. You talk about experience. This young man's 19 years old, but he's picking and choosing. Gonna be a little bit shallow on entry here, so now he has to kind of over slow because he won't be able to dime in the corner. Try to stay inside this 51 on exit.
And caution comes out.
Yellow.
66, hearing having a problem. Chad Fincham, sure enough. And Fincham has stopped on pit road, but he's not in his stall. So the caution comes out. The crew goes to work on the 66.
I wonder, Steve, if it's stuck, like if the brakes are locked up, if something's going on here.
They couldn't push him maybe into his stall or something.
Well, right now, you know, disappointment for some is opportunity for others. And if I'm the 7 and the 18, I'm really considering coming right here and taking on fuel. You know, there's 24 laps to go in this stage, but you have 134 laps to go in the race, so you're inside a one-stop window. So when you look at a race, and I say a window, this is no different than a road trip. If you're leaving Charlotte and you're driving to New York and you know you need to stop for gas one time, you don't want to stop in Raleigh if you still can't make it to New York on that tank of gas, right? You have to get farther enough away from where you started and close enough to your destination that your one stop for gas is going to get you all the way there. That's where these teams are at, where Sammy Smith is right here, and the whole field is they know if they put in fuel now, they only have to come one more time. Now, the reason I say these guys, because they're already in the back. I don't think I would pit if I'm the leader, but the cars without track position, this is that opportunity to maybe kind of jump those other guys, get a little lucky with the correct timed yellow.
I've been told Winchester, Virginia is actually the stopping
Winchester?
point. When you go from Charlotte to New York, you stop in Winchester, Virginia for fuel.
It's great barbecue in Raleigh, though. You want to stop and get some food.
See, I'd be frustrated because Jeff would make me stop at the barbecue. We'd still have to stop again in Winchester. I'm not riding with you two.
We have road tripped quite a few times.
Yeah, well, you got to find a good place to eat, too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, look, we saw this a week ago in the Cup race at Atlanta, right? We saw as they were racing for the weather, people kept trying to top off their fuel to try to be the, the first car on the most amount of fuel. I mean, Michael McDowell played it as perfect as possible. Right. So, Taylor Moyer right there.
And so, waiting to see if teams make their way onto pit road. The official app of NASCAR Tracks has the latest race and event information from your favorite tracks. Search NASCAR Tracks in the App Store. You can download for free and start using that app today. It's Raja Karuth in the Circle.com car, and he is stopped on pit road right now.
Yeah, remember he had that oil line off earlier. They came in to make repairs. You just get a little worried that, could you hurt the motor? Or... So I don't expect to see Nemechek or Chandler Smith, any of the leaders. They're probably committed to their strategy of staying. The real question is, will somebody else gamble, right? Will the 7, will the 18, or do they think they're fast enough to just recover? They may think that's not worth the risk because they have a good enough car. So you see the 18, he's staying on the racetrack, and so is in the 7. So they think they can just kind of beat these other guys heads up. I'm a kind of a gambler, though, Rick.
You would have gambled?
Absolutely.
Okay. You got to shake things up. When you come to New Hampshire, there's a lot of things you can do while you're here. Hiking, camping, sports, different things. And obviously, you want to take in the race when you come to New Hampshire Motor Speedway. Such a beautiful sight. Looking at the infield of Hampshire Motor Speedway. The haulers for not only Xfinity Series, but also the Cup Series. Modifieds are here as well. So much racing. And we know that Ken Squire, I'm sure, is watching right now, and we're always thinking about him, a great New Englander and friend of ours.
Oh, Thunder Road, Rick. You bring me right back. A lot of weekends I'd spent up at Thunder Road.
Hoping that Ken's doing well. I know they've had a lot of rain up here and flooding in the area. We hope everybody's good. And hope you're enjoying this one as we have 20 laps to go. Still in stage 2. It's John Hunter Nemechek on the outside, Chandler Smith on the inside as we get ready for the restart.
Ready. Back trigger green.
Oh, big stack up, huge damage to a 48 of Parker.
Seven's involved as well. Justin Allgaier is involved in it.
Yeah, big wreck. This is one of those racetracks we see this a lot.
Ryan Sieg, we saw the 39, the 02 also of Blaine Perkins, Parker Kligerman.
Heavy damage to the 7, the 39, the 48. That's terminal for the 48. You see the smoke. I don't think it's just tire rub, the radiator.
Yeah, that one's a foot shorter.
Why is it here, Jeff? This place is known for it.
Well, Indy also. Remember Indy, the oval? Like anytime there's a long straight and narrow, it's hard to see. You cannot see through the car in front of you. So everybody's going straight. The guys in the back cannot see what's happening in the front, and off it goes. We'll start with Parker Kligerman right here. You see the car on his outside is laying back quite a bit, and they just don't go. And everybody's anticipating a launch, and they hadn't launched.
And now the leaders, they can wait all the way until the end of the blue zone. So you see, they just wait all the way to the finish.
John Hunter did nothing wrong right there. He launched, it appears to me, he launched just before the line. We'll watch it again. But everybody was, this wreck started before the leaders ever launched, and it was just the anticipation of when is that front row going to go. And you have to guess. It's a bit of a guess, but clearly guess wrong. Now here's the first line they're coming to. Okay, so Steve said that you got to launch in between this line and this next one. So watch the outside car. There he goes. He had started rolling before he got to the line, it appears to me, but they're all stacked up.
Yeah. Okay, so let's remember where this all started from. The restart zone was put in place because when we went to double file restarts, the leader needs to have an advantage. He's already lost the advantage of now somebody's starting next to me, so you get to decide when to fire in this zone of time. Everyone behind is thinking, I'm going to leave a little gap, I'm going to roll up and time this perfect and pull out a line. And when the leader waits, everybody stacks up. And I agree with your assessment, Jeff. I believe the leader did nothing wrong. Let's listen in.
The whole field, stack him. Come on, green. Direction behind you, yellow.
So you even heard it right there.
Ready. Stack him big. Do not go.
That's great work by the spotter. You know, that's basically, you heard Sammy Smith trying to, roll into it.
So here we go, the outside car. See, it appears to me he's going before he gets to the line. Now, it wasn't much before the line, but everybody behind thought, we should be going. Why aren't we going? And just were anticipating it and just guessed wrong.
And now look, if the leader doesn't go before the line, it's still not penalty on the leader. That just means the other guy in the front row could go. Yeah. Right? So not that you would want to do this, Jeff, but John Hunter, in theory, cannot go. He can just wait as long as he wants.
Correct.
So watch right here on the speeds, Jeff. Right? So Nemechek's 38 miles an hour, very consistent. You see him slowly accelerate as they kind of all creep up, but it'll be a big jump when he gets on the gas. He's still in the zone, Boom. I mean, it jumps past 50 miles an hour, still in the zone. He's on the gas.
Yeah, so what would happen if he didn't go? The flagman starts a race at that point. So as soon as they get to the second line, the flagman drops the green, and now anybody can roll on that front row. So I don't see any rules broken there, but a lot of cars, poor Ryan Sieg. I mean, this is a backup car. That was a road course car, actually. That was the backup from a wreck yesterday. He lost brakes. Parker Kligerman, he came in a tight battle trying to make the playoffs, Dave, and now he's in trouble.
He was below the cut line, just 6 points behind Riley Herbst. Guess who missed that wreck? Riley Herbst. So Parker Kligerman came on the radio. He came on the radio and told his crew it went to 0. That was the oil pressure, so they said, bring it back to the garage. We are done. Marty?
Boy, Dave, massive playoff implications in this wreck, not only at the cut line, which is now on the left-hand side of your screen. Look at that swing for Riley Herbst. Plus 43, holy smokes. And then also at the top, remember Justin Allgaier is trying to win the regular season championship as well. And Steve, here's the problem when you get damage at a short track like New Hampshire. Jim Pullman doesn't have much time to work on this car when they come down pit road because the field catches up so quickly, you can only make your changes in really 30 to 40 second increments.
Yeah, you get small changes, but just remember, this all started with a mistake. A mistake put the 7 in the back. He had won the first stage. This is why when we talk about, they're simple mistakes. We're all human, we all make them. But this is the compounding effect. And look at the list of cars involved.
Yeah, 12 cars involved. You see Justin Allgaier involved. When he came in, Parker Kligerman was only 6 points behind Riley Herbst. Now 43 points separate the two because Parker Kligerman out for the remainder of this race after the big accident here. The NTT IndyCar Series is spending the weekend racing on the streets of Toronto. As a matter of fact, qualifying right now taking place in the rain. Will Alex Palou make it 4 straight wins, or will Scott Dixon in the run and repeat in Canada? You can catch all the action tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. Eastern only on Peacock. So make sure to tune in on Peacock for that street race in Toronto for the IndyCar. And we just saw a stack up on the restart here, and want to bring in Peacock Pit Box, Dale Jr., Dale Jarrett. All right, guys, how difficult is it to get back in the swing of things when you saw what stack up we just saw on that restart?
Well, I think it's a good reminder when you're a driver and you actually get through something like that. You're not one of the ones damaged. It's a good reminder to be paying attention on the restarts and not try to get too aggressive. With everything we see, nothing was done wrong by the control car of Nemechek. He waited till the very end of the restart box, but he did nothing wrong. He didn't slow down. He didn't bottleneck the field. It's all of the drivers behind him trying to get a roll and anticipate the restart, all 4 or 5 rows trying to do that all at the same time. And you know when you're buried at row 5, 6, 7, you're going with the cars around you. They start going, you're going, right? No one knows the leader has yet to start. And so, like Jeff Burton pointed out, it happens on these racetracks with the long straightaways. The oval at Indy got me one time. The straightaway at Homestead got me one time. That was actually Jeff that turned me there. So, I mean, we've all been in this situation before, and it's you're mad. You want to point the blame on somebody, but you can't.
Yeah, you want to, but you understand, all we talk about every week are you got to get what you can on these restarts, and these drivers know that that launch is what helps them to do that they can get down here in turn 1 and make it 3 wide somewhere and try to get a couple of spots. So you understand what they're going through, but then you're so mad at yourself for making a mistake like that cost you. And Justin Allgaier can go back, and not to pile on Justin, but you know, when you make a mistake, as they were talking about, that's what piles on then, and it just costs you even more after that.
Yeah, it's going to shake up the point situation as well around the bubble with the 48 car Parker having some trouble.
The whole front seam of the
So
hood.
I really think the 2 drivers, Dale and Dale down there, broke it down really, really well. But it kind of even starts on the front row. So if we take another look with speed, and I'm not going to blame Chandler Smith because I think every race car driver would attempt. So the 16 is trying to time his restart with the 20, trying to stay up close. So you see they're kind of the same speed, but as we get around to the end of the restart zone, before the 20 accelerates, watch that 16 speed. He actually accelerates first. So if you stop it like right here, you see he's at 52 miles an hour and Nemechek hasn't gone yet. So he kind of rolls up and then he checks up. So if we roll through that at full speed one time and just watch that 16 car, it makes it look like Nemechek slows down. That's not the case. Nemechek is actually a consistent speed per the rules. It's the 16, your reference car, that accelerates and slows, which makes it look like the leader's brake checking. And once again, I'm not blaming Chandler Smith.
Let me know if any warnings or anything like that are given out.
You know, he did just what I'd want my race car driver to do, right? I mean, I need you to time the restart. It's just part of the challenge. Kim.
And Austin Dillon, too loose on exit was the call. Needs a little help there. They are going to work on the nose of that. He got a little bit of damage, and they're going to change, as you see, tires there, but working on the damage. And then Sheldon Creed, they are just playing a completely different ball game strategy-wise. They needed to do what they had to win. They felt like this was it, Dave.
And Kim, it's kind of the same way for Brandon Jones. We've already talked about the fact that he's so far behind the cut line right now. They've got to go for the win. They're going to try to set up for it this way with 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel.
I love this call. Tires now, maybe gas only, or don't even come in at the end of the stage. Got to get off sequence. Brandon Jones, Jason Burdett, they're racing like they need a win in their points position. I agree with them.
Kim.
Parker Kligerman out of the race after that big stack up. What happened, and how is this going to affect your hunt for a playoff spot?
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. I mean, the restarts were pretty smooth before that, and then on that one, they all went, and I gave a little space to 11, which I'd done a couple of earlier restarts because guys were spinning tires, whatever. And then suddenly he stopped. I'm on the brake, and I don't know, got slammed from behind straight into him, and then our hood was destroyed. So I guess I'm looking at the replay here. Yes, I don't know. It's just not fun. Anyway, I guess I didn't stop, but we got the worst brunt of it, just the wrong place in the accordion. Really unfortunate. We had a really fast Spike Light Course Chevy. Thanks to Scott Borchetta, Sandy Borchetta for the opportunity. And I just think this was one of the better short tracks we had all year. We're such positive momentum, only 6 points out. I felt like today was going to be an easy top 10, maybe top 5 day. just have it ripped from us like that's really disappointing. But we're not down, we're not out. We'll keep going. We got a lot of great tracks ahead of us we can go win at.
I love it. Positive attitude from Parker Kligerman, who takes a nosedive, unfortunately, in the standings after that incident.
You heard Parker. He wasn't real sure what happened,
Yeah.
and that's what happens in these situations. At the end, it all goes back again to not being able to see. Parker had no idea what was going on in front of him. They started checking up. He couldn't respond. It's just, we see it all the time on these types of racetracks. And also, we played a radio clip from Chandler Smith, and he said, let me know if there are any warnings put out. And what he's saying is he thinks in his brain, Nemechek didn't go when he was supposed to.
Right.
He's not thinking he's going to get a warning. He's thinking Nemechek is going to get a warning. And so you talked about Chandler went a little bit early, and he did, but he only gained like a couple mile an hour. It wasn't like he launched 50, you know what I mean?
Right.
He gained a little bit, tried to get a little forward momentum going. He recognized the 20 wasn't going, so he checked up, and he's like, we're so deep in the box, the 20 should have gone. So he's expecting that Nemechek's going to get a warning, not him.
And Rick, we have to remind the fans, right? I love the job of analyzing what we're seeing. We're like frame by frame.
Right.
Super slow motion, right? These drivers are doing this at real speed in one time. They don't get to see it and go, oh, I'm going to do it different. Now they get another chance at it here. But this is like looking at a great football catch frame by frame, right? It's almost unfair to the athlete.
It's funny. Steve's like, he gained 2 miles an hour. Like, you don't know you gained 2 miles an hour.
Exactly. The fact that he was gaining, I mean, yeah.
Chandler Smith, he can't expect that anything would be said to John Hunter Nemechek, right? Because ultimately, John Hunter Nemechek, when he gets to that last line in the zone, the flag man starts the race.
I know, but again, Steve just said it. We're up here. It's air conditioned. We know we're not going to win or wreck, or we're not going to blow a motor today. We're going to talk about it. Those guys are in the middle of it, and that is their life. That's their emotion, and you think differently when it's in that. You got a chance to win a race, right? And you're like, that guy didn't do something right, and that's how it works. And that's why when you hear a driver be interviewed after a wreck, don't always believe what they say. They might think it's true, but they don't really know all the time.
Listen, the worst job I think here is the officials on pit road, because if I was Bruce Schlicker, the crew chief of the 16, I would find an official right now, and I mean, you absolutely need to tell the 20, he can't do that, he can't do this. I would be politicking, trying to, not that it would sway anybody, but I'd feel a lot better I'm standing up for my driver.
We're going to try it again. Coming up to the restart zone for John Hunter Nemechek. He's the control car. He gets to determine when they go.
Hurry.
A lot cleaner restart that time. Josh Berry on the outside of Chandler Smith. Berry in the 8, Smith in the 16, and a little slide there out of Chandler Smith. The back end came around just slightly, and he loses that second spot. Now Josh Berry up to second. It's Riley Herbst in the 98 trying to get by Cole Custer in the 00.
For the cars that came down pit road and got those tires, top of your screen you see Sammy Smith, black and gold car. That was a nervous restart. You just saw some cars get wrecked mid-pack. Now for the strategy to work, you have to be clean. Look what new tires do for you, though. As he rolls underneath that 25 of Brett Moffitt.
Still out there even.
Trying to get in the gas.
Grab your
Trying to
rotor
get next
down
to
the
the
back when you have
26.
time. If you have time.
Remember that 26 of Kaz Gralla? He got wrecked yesterday. It wasn't his fault. He just was in the wrong place, wrong time. Racing a backup car, Jeb Burton. He's had a good run toward the front. Started 20th. Here he is racing Austin Hill for 8th place.
Yeah, Jeb's right there. Austin Hill, Hemrick in the 11. Parker Retzlaff in the 31. Haven't really said his name. He's right up inside the top 10.
There you see Cole Custer to the inside of Smith now. Chandler taking that almost second and a half groove.
It's only a matter of time for Riley Herbst in the 98. I know he's wanting to win that race, and of course he's going to be frustrated. He just wants to see it, but I've really seen a big shift in what he's doing behind the wheel. Both confident, decision-making. Oh, the 24 is high, out of the groove, damaged. The caution's out.
Stay hard,
Stay hard, guys.
And fourth caution of the afternoon comes out for the 24-year-old. He was running 12th.
I tell you what, this caution comes at an interesting time here.
6 to go in the stage.
Well, I mean, unfortunately, I think for Nemechek and Barry, you're pot committed. Like, you have to try to win this stage and get that point. And all those cars that just pitted, namely the 2 of Creed. Let's see what happens to the 24. He's kind of at the top of your screen, I think. Yeah, there he is. Just behind 3 wide, free into the corner. Big, long slide. Tries to stay off the wall.
This racetrack is notorious for tough restarts and notorious for being loose on corners. You know,
look at all the tire tracks.
He's not the first one through there, is he?
So Connor Mozak makes a little bit of contact with that outside wall and bringing out the caution with just under 5 laps to go. They'll close pit road with 2 laps to go in the stage, so the pit road is open.
I like this. Open pit road and make it a decision for the crew chiefs, and here you go. Decision time. The leaders know they're going to give up the chance to win the race if they don't come now. Other cars stayed on the racetrack. Sam Mayer had to be really close to the orange box. Kim.
Including Josh Berry, who was running second. Josh saying it was a little better that run. He just needs help rotating more through the center. The exit similar, just more of the same from the last stop. So air pressure on those 4 fresh Goodyears, Dave.
Leader John Hunter Nemechek said, I'm just a touch on the other side of the balance at fire off, but on the long run, I need more of what you were giving me. The 16 of Chandler Smith says they just need a little air out of the left rear. That means the car was a little bit tight. This will free him up.
Battle off of pit road, and it was a close one. Nemechek and Barry hold their positions, as does Chandler Smith. Herbst grabs a spot on pit road. Custer loses one. That's how tight it was right there. Nemechek just in front of Barry.
One of Sam Mayer came to pit road, but some confusion on the radio. Listen.
We're coming.
Ready, be ready. I said stay.
You didn't say anything. There was no radio communication.
No, you said stay. I heard it. It's all good. Stay with it here.
Marty Lindley and Sam Mayer, they're not the first 2 to argue about would they have come, should they have come. They'll have to clean it up after. I said he looked close to the orange box. We looked at it again. He had a ton of room. He was just a little out of line versus everyone else. But now we have new players at the front, Rick.
Yeah, short sprint here. It's going to be 2 laps. Parker Retzlaff and Sammy Smith. And Retzlaff a little sideways on this restart. Sammy Smith down to the bottom of the racetrack trying to take the lead away. Good run for Sheldon Creed in the 2, fighting for that 3rd spot. Coming up on 1 to go in stage 2. Sammy Smith a little bit deeper into 3, gets the lead away from Retzlaff.
One more.
Sammy, for the first time all day, doesn't have a group of cars in front of him. He's been mired in traffic. Sheldon Creed as well. The 31 of Parker Retzlaff doing a really nice job battling to the front. He came in a pretty good chunk below the cut line, over 100. But this will be a good score of stage points.
Every little bit counts as we see Creed working his way to the inside, trying to take second away. But this will be Sammy Smith grabbing his first stage win of 2023.
Further behind them, look who finished eighth.
What's your water temp?
John Hunter Nemechek. He drove all the way back up to 8th place after pitting right there.
Joe Graff Jr. in 7th, grabbing a couple stage points as well. Chandler Smith finishing in the 10th spot. There was Sammy Smith winning stage 2. NBC Sports coverage of NASCAR on USA is brought to you by Credit One Bank, a credit card company, and by the new movie Gran Turismo, based on a true story, only in theaters August 11th. And now cars will be working their way back onto pit road, those that didn't come to pit road.
Yes, and that was decision time. Unfortunately for the 31, he was last on pit road at lap 46, so he has to come for some fuel versus Sammy Smith. He was able to stay out. Dave.
And Steve, it's been a good weekend for Parker Retzlaff. He qualified 13th, and when I talked to him and Jordan Anderson, his car owner, before the race, they felt pretty confident about what they could get done here this afternoon. That's only the 4th time this year that Parker has earned stage points in a race, so things continuing to look the right direction for this group.
I like it. Oh, a little tire rolling up there in the front. Hopefully somebody sees that before he goes to leave. There you go. Good job picking it up. Now we're going to get kind of set for that final little over 100 laps, Rick. It's going to be exciting.
Just got to make sure everybody gets through the restarts. Sammy Smith winning stage 2. Ready to start up front. Well, next Saturday on USA, it's NASCAR Xfinity Series racing from Pocono, the Tricky Triangle. Coverage beginning at 5 p.m. Eastern. Chase Elliott, we know, is going to be in the race. He'll be running the number 17. Daniel Suarez also is scheduled to be a part of it. And that's an outfit that I think we would normally see in Michigan, the yellow and blue stripes, but possibly a Michigan person that has decided to come to this race.
That's your favorite snack, Rick. I can't believe he's not bringing that corn dog up to you.
Love a good corn dog. You know who loves a good corn dog is Dale Earnhardt Jr. So let's bring in Dale Jarrett and Dale Earnhardt Jr. All right, guys. Have you seen enough of the first two stages that you can predict who's going to win this race?
Well, the late cautions in stage 2 flipped things around and made what looked like a relatively simple drive to victory for Nemechek a little more tough. But one driver that I think did a masterful job, especially on the pit box with the strategy, was Creed. Sheldon Creed, who came into this just 26 above the cut line at the bubble, has done a masterful job not only to cycle himself forward and get some stage points, but now they're going to try to race to the end and grab a top 10, and they're making things difficult on the other drivers around him in that points battle.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing. I'm not sure his car's handling good enough. We'll see how he's up there in the front with this. It's going to make things more difficult for the other drivers, though. But I want to see what John Hunter can do coming up through there, and Josh Berry, who looked like he had his car pretty good. And after you and he decided to put my name on the side of that car, no, that's not true. That's actually Jarrett Companies out of Ohio. But Josh Berry is a really good short track racer, and I want to see if he can get that first win for this year.
Well, this stage is going to get pretty interesting as the drivers are going through the choose and lining up, Kim.
Well, a little bit shocking that Sheldon chose the inside line, because last year on a late restart, he also chose the inside line when the top was a preferred lane. And I asked crew chief Jeff Stankiewicz, explain that choice last year to me, and he said that was the wrong choice. So again, interesting. Creed decides to choose the inside. It must be working well for his car. He is great on restarts. Jeff reiterating the fact that Sheldon has the courage to put the car places other drivers will not go.
Yeah, Kim, courage is not a problem with Sheldon Creed. He will put it anywhere he thinks it might be able to stick.
Yeah, see, even with that issue, Allgaier with the most points stored in the stages, but just below him. I know Dale Jr. pointed out the 2 of Creed, but I'm going to point out the 9. Jones, 12 points in the stages, starting on row 2. Same great call with strategy.
Keep your eye on Joe Graff Jr. Great opportunity sitting there on the bottom inside line, row 2.
And that 19, as they're back under green for the final stage of the race. And look at John Hunter Nemechek, made it 3 wide, fighting for that 4th spot. He was all the way down on the apron, and now he's getting to the inside of the 9. '20 of Nemechek drifts up the track just a bit, but door to door with Brandon Jones as those two fight for the 3rd spot. Sammy Smith, Creed, Nemechek, Jones, Allgaier, all in the top 5.
What Nemechek's been able to do right here, he's been able to drive through the field better than the guys he was racing earlier. So he's sitting there running 3rd. Josh Berry 7th, Chandler Smith 8th. Those guys have not been able to get up through the field quite as well.
Are we surprised that Allgaier has recovered from the accident and has been able to get up here and is running in the 5th position?
Well, certainly the car is not as good as he needs it to be with all that damage on the front end, especially. You see the left front nose, all the tape on the hood, the nose is caved in. Certainly that's not helping him, but he's a grinder. He is not going to quit. He'll keep fighting, get out of this every bit he can.
Still watching in line with you.
Joe Graff Jr. making it tough for him on the inside. John Hunter Nemechek takes the 2nd spot away from Creed.
Now the most dominant team at New Hampshire Motor Speedway in the Xfinity Series has been Joe Gibbs Racing in their first second. Can Nemechek run his teammate down, Sammy Smith?
And here Joe Graff Jr. in the 19 trying to clear Allgaier, and he just barely does, but doesn't go on the racetrack. Yeah, Riley Herbst into the wall.
Yeah, the 98 was coming off the corner. The 10 looked like he was on his right rear. I couldn't tell who moved up or who moved down. But the result, the 98, and you look at the right front wheel, that concrete and paint or metal kind of jammed into it.
And remember, that's the guy that Parker Kligerman is racing for that to get into the playoffs. So both of those guys having trouble.
And big issue, the right front wheel not turning. This is going to be a day ender, I assume, for the 98. And with 99 laps to go, 98, 97 before pit road opens, if you think you could go 80 green, you know, welcome to New Hampshire. It's a few miles race every time you come, not because of yellows, but because of how it works. And there's the bubble, right? This is a car that thought he was going to make big gains on Kligerman, as Jeff just pointed out. And in the end, contact with the 10.
Right now he's being scored in the 27th position. If he does fall out of the race, he'll fall to 31st, which would be one spot in front of Parker Kligerman.
All right, so the three ride right here. Riley gets clear of Austin Hill on the inside. It looks like to me he comes up on the 10 car, yeah, of Austin.
Austin Dillon in the 10.
He was between some Austins.
It's a tough angle. I'd like to see it from a little different angle. Here you go. Yeah, it's pretty clear. 98 just does not give Austin the room that he expected coming off turn 4.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to just know if he knew he was there, if he thought he got a good run off the corner and was going to clear him, you know, naturally just accelerated off. Was it clear communication between the spotter and driver? You know, that doesn't look like a mistake. Riley Herbst's like out of control mistake. He just moves to an area of the track that's, you know, owned by the 10. And I don't believe Austin Dillon, you know, he doesn't have to give that spot. He's far enough up in the bumper. I think that's fair to try to contest, Marty.
Yeah, and Steve, I did hear Tim Fedewa, the veteran spotter who spots for Kevin Harvick in the Cup Series and spots for Riley Herbst in the Xfinity Series, say several times outside, and he had been racing Austin Dillon for quite a while. So here's the question: can they get this fixed and get him back out? What a roller coaster day. Riley Herbst came in +6, went to +40 at one point when Parker Kligerman had his issue, and right now he has tumbled back down, now just +11. And same thing applies as we talked about with Justin Allgaier earlier, Steve. Not a lot of time here to short track in New Hampshire to get all these repairs done on the 98.
Yeah, not a lot of time. I do like that system, though. Cut it away and drop it on the block. And you see why that time is so quick, right? Pace car's all the way back around. I want to kind of take a look at this. Oh, I want to see who is coming. So the 10's going to come. He probably thinks he has some left front damage. This would be interesting to see it kind of full speed. You know, it's slow down. It seems just so clear what happened. But you wonder at full speed off the corner, right, if he just is chasing his car or decides he's going to clear the guy.
Into the wall goes Riley Herbst. The caution comes out. 6 cautions already today. 5 different leaders. Hunter Nemechek's been out front the most. Sammy Smith's out front now. Today's aerial coverage brought to you by Pods. If you're moving this summer, save up to 30% at pods.com today. An overcast day, and want to take a look at the Ruoff Mortgage keys to victory.
Well, 94 laps to go. When is the final pit stop? Gas only 2 tires, 4 tires is going to be an important decision.
Restarts try to pick up spots, but as we saw, you also have to survive them. And then these two, they kind of contradict each other because I got to get through traffic, Steve, but you also want me to do it with what?
Well, I want you to get through traffic, and then when you're ready to lose your mind, I'm going to try to talk you off the ledge, give you a little bit of patience to not damage our car, keep our fenders straight. I know it's only a 1-mile track, but those fenders are going to help the thing turn. Let's not knock them off early.
Patience. You just said it's only 94 to go, and then we said patience. Like, those two don't go together.
I'm having a hard time hearing Steve talk about patience in traffic because we've ridden to a racetrack for the past 10 years, and I don't know if he's ever seen patience with traffic. As Sammy Smith and John Hunter Nemechek bring it back to the green, and Smith sideways, almost lifted off the ground there, it looked like, by Sheldon Creed.
Tire smoke.
A sliding number 9 of Brandon Jones in third right now, but he slid through turns 2.
Look at the mess behind him.
This is where patience comes into play, right?
Well, no, right now I want you to pass guys and then be patient after you do it. No, you are right, Rick, because you need a foot, 2 feet. You need something, and another driver's going to try to take it from you, especially on corner exit right here. These cars on the bottom, if they had just another foot or 2 to their right, they could accelerate better.
Yeah, that restart is under review. You know, did John Hunter Nemechek launch before that 18 car? Let's watch. Remember the rule. That 18 car is a control car. He has to launch first now. They're gonna look hard at that. I mean, is the 2? Let's listen.
Yep. Okay, so with the audio, the 20 accelerates like the car moves first, but on the audio it sounds to me, Jeff, that the 18 goes to the pedal. He's just spinning the tires. Now, my question to you is, can John Hunter hear that? Can you hear the car next to you, even with like right side pipes? Can you tell when he's on the throttle?
Yeah.
You know,
yeah, you can hear it, you can tell it, but also Creed jacked up, you know, the outside lane too, so that hurt his forward movement as well. That was close though. If you're John Hunter Nemechek, that's all you can get. Don't get more than that.
NASCAR looked at it. They said the restart was good.
Well, this is what I was talking about earlier with a car that may be the best car here. We never know, is that 18 of Sammy Smith. John Hunter, we know he has a good car. He's led 54 laps, but that 18 was in traffic, and now they're out there together. He's actually a little behind on tire as we have Brett Moffitt and Kaz Gralla beating and banging at the bottom of the screen. So now we're going to see if Sammy Smith does match up with the 20 of John Hunter.
Yeah, we saw Kaz Gralla in that 26 get into the side of another car there. A little aggressive, and continuing on the bottom of your screen. I don't know if the aggression has ended.
Remember that patience thing? I think they've gone through that.
They've forgotten.
Yeah.
Well, they're not watching.
Daniel Hemrick in the 11 coming up on Kaz Gralla. Top of your screen, Nemechek just in front of Sammy Smith. 2 car lengths separating the top 2 right now. We had mentioned that Toyota has been dominant here. As we take a look at the Toyota driver update, Nemechek and Sammy Smith running 1 and 2. Joe Graff Jr. in 5th. Kaz Gralla 13. Connor Mozak 18. Kim.
And for Sammy Smith, they keep reminding him on the radio, you have to be patient. Do not use up your stuff. Another thing to note, I talked to the team and they told me that Sammy really leans on John Hunter to learn racetracks. This is Sammy's first time at New Hampshire, so possibly putting him in the catbird seat, having used his teammate to gain knowledge of this track, with his teammate the one that he is looking to pass.
Well, we talked about how some teams use New Hampshire to gauge themselves for Phoenix. Sammy Smith won earlier this year at Phoenix. And so here he is sitting here running second, trying to chase down John Hunter Nemechek.
So Jeff, my question to you is, as a driver who is so successful here, as we see the 00 of Cole Custer in that white car pass the 7 of Allgaier, and a very beat up and bruised Branch Chevrolet there. What is John Hunter doing? I agree with the Sammy Smith, don't burn your car up, kind of chasing that rabbit. But is John Hunter, is he able to kind of look through the mirror and gap himself back and, I don't want to say not drive off to a big lead, but actually save a little tire, just keeping Smith far enough behind?
Well, I think John Hunter today, with all the years of experience he has, is not punishing his car, but he's trying to make lap time, right? If your car drives good and then you're not hurting tires because it drives well, you're not asking a lot out of your car and can make lap time. I think John Hunter 5 years ago wouldn't have cared. He just would have driven as fast as he could and not worried about it, but he's matured. He's an experienced driver, and he's not going to get further out on Sammy Smith than he needs to.
We want to make sure that you hear from the drivers that are out of the race that maybe went to the infield care center. One of those was Ryan Sieg, as he was involved in that lap 71 restart incident. And this was just after he came out of the infield care center with Kim Kuhn.
And Ryan Sieg out of the race. I know on the radio you were really frustrated. You did everything you could during that pileup. Walk us through what happened from your perspective.
Yeah, no, I know the stack-ups always that happen here, and I was prepped for it, and I was like, I laid back, and then I was on the brakes, and then you know what I mean, everybody behind me just never checked up, but it's all product of the 20. Not going on a restart, playing games with probably one of the fastest cars here at the track, and just playing stupid games and wrecked a bunch, you know what I mean, a couple cars out of doing just stupidness on the restart.
Strong words and frustration from Ryan Sieg.
Yeah, well, I don't agree. The rule is the rule. The rule is you have to start in the restart zone. That's the rule. And so, do you like it? No, but John Hunter did nothing wrong. He abided by the rule. He accelerated before the last line on the restart. So I understand that people are upset because he got in a wreck. This is his second car of the weekend. This team can't afford wrecking 2 race cars. But John Hunter was not at fault for that wreck.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment, and I will give Ryan Sieg a little more leeway than I normally would, because it has been anything but a smooth weekend. He drove into turn 1 with no brakes in practice, wrecked 1 car, and now a 2nd car. For a small team, it's more than just a poor finish. This is an expensive weekend.
And not only was that a backup car, that was a road course car he was running today, and he was doing a really good job in it. He got himself in pretty good position. So frustration level pretty high from him, actually really high.
Well, and you mentioned we talked about the Toyota dominance when you gave the update. The 19 of Joe Graf Jr., running in the 5th position. So trying to use this opportunity. Not a ton of opportunities in the 19. He was in it at Richmond as well. Kind of was on the wrong end of the strategy and ended up having a poor finish. But Marty, so far, not smooth for the 19. They had that speeding penalty, but recovered all the way back to the top 5.
Yeah, but Steve, it's worked so far for Joe Graf Jr. Stevie Reeves, the spotter, kind of coaching him through his lines. Jason Ratcliffe helped with a little strategy as well, trying to hold off Josh Berry right here. But you're right, when you have limited opportunities in a good car like this, you have to take advantage. And Joe Graf Jr. only has 2 more opportunities in the 19 this year. So he knew he wanted New Hampshire. That's what we talked about earlier, showing so far running really well up in the 6th spot.
Yeah, and Marty started off the day by saying that this is a pivotal race for Joe Graf Jr. running in this great equipment, only 6 opportunities, and he's taking advantage of this one. John Hunter Nemechek out front. make sure to represent your favorite driver and take advantage of amazing deals at the NASCAR shop. Check out the greatest selection. There's t-shirts, hats, die casts, and much, much more. Visit NASCAR.com/shop today. You're watching NASCAR Xfinity Series Racing from New Hampshire, the Ambetter Health 200. 74 laps to go. Out in front, it's John Hunter Nemechek, and running back there in the 5th position is Joe Graf Jr.
Yeah, we just heard Marty from pit road talk to us about this opportunity for Joe Graf Jr. Let's ride along and listen to how this team's trying to help him.
He's beating you into 3 a little bit on entry. You're lifting a little earlier than him, but then you're rolling the center of the same speed. Yeah, if we could get to where we get in just a tick deeper into 3, but still maintain your center, that'll help you. That looks better.
So that's really good information. That spotter, crew chief, engineer all working together to get some data and then provide that to the driver from the spotter. That's just great work. Young driver trying to find a little bit of speed and everybody working together to help him.
And Jeff, that coaching so needed for a young driver. Stevie Reeves, the veteran spotter, providing that information as we watch the battle behind him between the 8 of Josh Berry and Cole Custer coming up there as well. The one thing they're encouraging him to do, Jeff, is drive deeper in the corner. That's what he's missing, about 2 or 3 car lengths lifting off the gas sooner than everybody else. But how hard is it as a young driver to convince yourself, Jeff, drive it a little deeper every lap?
Well, you know, I don't think actually driving in the corner, Marty, is the hard part. It's connecting the rest of the corner, right? So if you drive in the corner, you know, a car length, 2 car lengths deeper, and now it doesn't do what you want it to in the center, then you've overdriven the corner. And I think if you just said, hey, Joe, it's just as simple as driving in the corner deeper, he would do that. But it's not what he needs to happen in the middle of the corner is not happening. So, yeah, I think he'd do it in a heartbeat, but he needs a little bit something different to get rotation with the front tires.
So, Jeff, as you know, some of the best races of your career are the smooth ones that you don't have highlights or lowlights, and I feel like it's kind of that way for the 25 of Brett Moffitt, right? Started 12th, running 12th, making his 102nd start in this series. This is the 2015 Cup Rookie of the Year, so he has experience continuing to build with this small team. Has 1 top 10 here at New Hampshire, running 12th. Maybe today's the day to get his 2nd.
You use the word experience. The guy running right behind him is Austin Dillon. He's got a lot of experience. He's the 2011 Truck Series champion, 2013 Xfinity Series champion. He's been running in the Cup Series ever since that championship. But you look at Austin Dillon, you say, okay, here's a guy who's won a championship of the trucks, won a championship of the Xfinity Series. He could be the first driver ever to sweep and be a champion at all. He still is fighting for another championship, possibly in the Cup Series.
Yeah, Daniel Hemrick running 14th. Remember, Xfinity Series champion a couple years ago, left Joe Gibbs Racing, came to Colleague, and here he is today. Started 11th. He got into that incident on the restart on lap 71, and he's done a nice job of recovering that. This team is just a little bit off. They're right there with their teammates, but need to find about a tenth and a half on speed on a weekly basis. They're working hard to get there.
Well, making his first start here at New Hampshire, Parker Retzlaff in the 31 car, the 20-year-old from Wisconsin. Only 27 starts in the series. Started 13th, finished 2nd in stage 2 with some great strategy. Still running inside the top 15, gaining very valuable experience.
Just behind him in at 27 is 30-year-old Jeb Burton. The Burton family, very famous obviously in NASCAR. With the guy sitting next to me is Uncle Jeff Burton, Father Ward Burton. He actually began racing in the NASCAR Whelen All-American Series at South Boston Speedway at the age of 16. South Boston, I think they should rename that Burton Speedway, because I think all of you guys have cut your teeth at that racetrack. Dave?
We mentioned what happened to Kaz Grala a couple of times in practice. Let's look at it one more time as he gets surprised by Ryan Sieg's loss of brakes going down into turn number 1. Sieg is in the white and blue car, and Kaz would be in the black and blue car. And as the brakes are lost on the Sieg car, he rolls in and tries to scrub the speed off. And there it is, just collects the white car of Kaz Grala. Nothing that either driver could do at that point. Kaz told me this morning that as we look back at Kaz here, I've never driven a backup car before, first time ever, but I have no reason to believe this car wouldn't be as good as the one I drove yesterday. And by golly, he's driven from 38th to 17th.
Yeah, good run for Kaz going, a good run, perhaps the career best. Right behind him, the 92 of Josh Williams, trying to improve his best finish here at New Hampshire. 19th, currently running 18th, the 29-year-old, 171st start. Been in the Xfinity Series a long time. Doing a nice job, continuing to run. A great personality. Got himself in a little bit of trouble in Atlanta with that personality.
Yeah.
But then bounced back with a 9th place in Atlanta last week. So kind of the two different stories at Atlanta. Learned a lot the first one. Great run the second one. Here he is 18th. If he can finish there, it'll be his best finish here.
Yeah, just want to remind everyone, NASCAR had told him to park that car in Atlanta. That was last year. And
you think they told him where specifically?
They didn't specifically tell him where to park it, so he decided he would park it on the start-finish line during the race. So he's parked it and walked away.
That's one area you don't really need a no parking zone sign.
Well, it didn't go
kind
over
of clear that's not where you park.
Yeah, it didn't go over well either, because they said go directly to the NASCAR hauler, and then they made him sit in there until the end of the race, which was quite some time.
I'm going to tell you something. I'm impressed with the 7-car of Allgaier. Look how much damage there is to it. And he's hanging in there. I mean, we know the car is not as fast as it was before all this damage, but that guy's not going to quit. He is going to keep clawing, scratching, fighting to get everything he can. Marty, what do you have on those guys?
Well, it's funny. At one point, Jim Pullman said, "How's the car?" And Justin Allgaier replied, "It's not ideal." So, Steve, look at the points he earned today. 15 stage points. This is why stage racing is so critical. Justin Allgaier may not finish in the top 10 today, but with all that damage, what else would you expect? But those stage points on the left-hand side of your screen, that's changed the game. If you walk out of here with, what, a top 15, Steve, and that kind of damage and that amount of points, you a happy crew chief?
Well, I'm a happy crew chief of the result, but I'm not a happy crew chief on Monday, and we're going to sit down and discuss how we got here. You know, I think Justin Allgaier, we heard him earlier, he had a lot of confidence, he had a lot of swagger, and I love that part. But then that's a mistake you don't see Justin make, sliding along in his box. So this is where a new crew chief, and Jim Holman is his first year with Justin Allgaier, like, hey, should I have helped you? Should I have tried to temper your enthusiasm for the race? How did we get in this position? Like I said, we're human. It's just a mistake. But how can we work together to not make that? I mean, it doesn't mean no good, Rick, to just say, hey, just don't do it again. Hey, just don't do that again, right? I mean, how can we not do that again?
Team working together to try to improve at every aspect of the race. Out in front, John Hunter Nemechek with a 4-second lead over Sammy Smith with 60 laps to go. Tomorrow, the Cup Series takes center stage here at the Magic Mile, and I'll ask you guys, is it must-win time for guys like Chase Elliott and maybe Alex Bowman, guys who, you know, we've heard maybe could point their way in, but is this an opportunity that they have to take advantage of?
So I don't know why everyone thinks that it's like, well, I'm either going to try to win or score points. Most of the time, that happens together. Like, if you have a car good enough to win, then you can actually score the most points. And I wonder what this would look like. These guys can go longer on fuel, but the 2 is starting to lose some time, Kim.
And they wanted to be the first to pit last. Sheldon saying it was snappy on entrance, tight center. Exit pretty good, though. 4-tire Sunoco fuel. Slight air pressure adjustment for Sheldon Creed on this stop.
So now this is going to be very interesting because first to pit last. Why? Let's put some fresh tires on. Let's try to make up our time on the racetrack. Let's see. This pit road kind of comes up quick. Oh, hand out the window. What? No, no, no. Don't go to my left.
Chandler Smith was right there, and now he's in front of you, Kim.
4 tires.
And for Sammy Smith, he was just complaining a little bit snug. Needs help rotating on the center. As you see, right front looked slightly slow there on that stop. 4 tires and Sunoco fuel going in for Sammy Smith on pit road.
Now, while he was the second place guy, normally we would be jumping on the leader like he needs to come right away. The good thing for John Hunter is he had a 4-second lead. So he can take a deep breath, run an extra lap if he thinks he needs to.
And Cole Custer, I've been watching him. He's fast. He's run down Brandon Jones. Brandon Jones drove away from that 2-car Sheldon Creed, but the 00 has run Brandon down. And Cole's been about the second fastest car the last several laps, Kim.
And for Josh Berry, they have been massaging on the car all day long, just way too tight. Can't get it to turn the way you want. As you see the chassis adjustment there, still trying to free him up. He said, especially on throttle, that's where I need help with the turn. Those 4 tires going on the machine of Josh Berry.
You see the 9, Berry's teammate of Brandon Jones now coming to pit road. That 4.7 second lead that Nemechek had, that allows him to be a little bit more flexible. Dave, the 9 coming at you.
And Jason Burdett told him they were pretty happy with how they had connected the corner. They just try to work on getting him a little bit more drive off the corners. That's what the driver really wants here. Pretty common problem here at New Hampshire, Marty.
Cole Custer's going to come down pit road, clarified with his team and his crew chief, Jonathan Toney. Hey, we are coming here. Now he comes to pit road as Brandon Jones wraps up his stop. He actually said early in the run, the car did not feel as good, almost like the back end was swinging around way too much. But boy, did it come along, as Jeff Burton mentioned, Dave.
No changes for John Hunter Nemechek, the race leader. Had that lead. Where will he cycle back in? He'll be 4 Goodyear tires and Sunoco fuel for him. Can he win for the 2nd week in a row?
Upper right, you see the 18 is the car we're going to compare the 22 because the 18 is the first one that has pitted. He's about at the start-finish line. You can see on the graphic, but the 20, he's in the middle of 1 and 2. So here comes Sammy Smith. We're going to have to chase ahead to find the 20 of John Hunter Nemechek because he's already accelerating down the backstretch.
Yeah, he's coming into turn 3 right now. There's Sammy Smith and that 18. That Toyota onboard giving us a great view, and Sam Mayer slides into his stall right in front of you, Dave.
Yeah, I was wondering if he was a little bit too close to the wall there. Let's see how the crew reacts.
Yeah, 2 tires.
Yep, just 2 tires. It was way too close there, guys.
Yeah. Marty Lindley made the call for 2 tires because they couldn't have put 4 on it. The only way to put 4 on it was to back up, and Marty just made the decision, hey, this ain't going to work. He's just in there so deep, and now the left front tire is right against the wall. It would have been hard to jack the car. It would have been hard to change the left front tire, Dave.
Maybe just a little bit of a tweak here for Chandler Smith for the end of this race. The thing that he'd been doing much better that last run, rolling the center of the corner. The team praised him for that. A little bit slow on the right side here as Chandler Smith tries to win from pole today. He was running outside the top group, or just outside, inside the top group, top 5 when he pitted.
Back up to speed, coming off of that number 1 pit stall. Parker Retzlaff, as you see, also on pit road. The 31. Joe Graff Jr. is being scored out in front now. Austin Dillon 2 seconds behind him.
So the Austin Dillon machine is going to be the interesting one because he was last on pit road at lap 104. I mean, that's 96 laps, but he's had a bunch of yellows. You wonder what kind of Hail Mary are they going to throw in this 10 car. Alex Yantz on the pit box. I don't think they can go all the way. But I would go as absolute long as I can and maybe just take gas only and try to catch a yellow.
And Steve, I just had the same thought, so I walked down, checked in with the team. They've got tires on the wall. The crew is kind of waiting there, but there's no sense of urgency. I said, will you need to stop? And they just kind of shrugged and said, we don't know. We haven't heard anything. His teammate, though, Daniel Hamrick, you see on the bottom of the screen, he said tight through the middle, snappy on exit as he finishes his stop under green.
What the 19 does by staying on the racetrack is it takes some guys, and now you're a lap down, right?
I'm going to run long. I mean, why not? Try to get a caution here.
Sounds like a conversation between a couple crew members or maybe even communication to the driver.
Probably from Jason Ratcliffe, who has won a ton of races here. He has so many race wins, and he's sitting there saying, hey, let's give this kid some clean air. Let's let him lead some laps. Maybe something big happens here, you know? What's a great opportunity for a young guy to be in the spotlight a little bit, feel that, and have a chance to maybe something magical happen. You never know.
Well, because the advantage you have now is if you run long and you get a yellow, while Nemechek has already pitted, he's going to be kind of right at your rear bumper. You know, he's going to either have to come get, or he's now put his last set of tires on. So now you're going to have fresher tires than John Hunter. So you at least find an advantage where you can.
We saw the 8 get by that 19, so he unlapped himself. That was Josh Berry. With him unlapping himself, that means there's 17 cars on the lead lap now, with Joe Graf Jr. still staying on the racetrack out front.
And Rick, I think the other thing Jason Ratcliffe thought in this decision making to kind of leave the 19 out there is the fact that they had finally kind of gotten the line on the racetrack with Stevie Reeves and Jason where they wanted it. And Joe were very happy with what Joe Graf was doing on the racetrack. The lap times have not been spectacular here at the end of the run, but Austin Dillon still almost a second back. Why not leave him out as long as you can?
I like it. I like the call. I like what they're trying. And if you're the 10 right here, you're just trying to, you have a little better fuel. You set right in behind him. And John Hunter back in 5th. He's 14 seconds back. You're trying to run this 10 down the best you can.
How much conserve would you go, Steve, if you're the 10 of Austin Dillon? I mean, if you do try to make it, could you just, I mean, go as slow as staying in front of the guy that's behind you?
I would see how much I can save and can I stay in front of Nemechek, who we know can make it. Problem is Nemechek is running almost a second faster, so you can't win the race at this point. So I would run as long as I can, but there's zero reason to run yourself out of gas. Now, I would run out of gas if I thought I could stay in front of Nemechek to win the race, but you don't want to run out of gas for second or third in this car. So running long makes a difference. And with this kind of jumble, we've changed some names, right? You see Williams in 4th, Nemechek in 5th, Sammy Smith in 6th. How about Mason Massey back there in 7th in the 08? That's impressive run.
Stay up, stay up, stay up.
There's the yellow. That can change everything.
No caution yet.
There it is.
Out, caution's out.
Kyle Sieg in the 28. Down on the apron. And gets it fired back up again. And it looks as though he's going to roll around the track before he comes to pit road.
We heard from Ryan Sieg earlier. Kyle's the younger brother of Ryan.
Your flat spot him, Kyle.
Spun the tires there. I don't think so, but yeah, he just spun me there. The 4 was going so slow in the corner. I went in. You know, the 4 was going in there, so I was going to hit him if I didn't go below him.
Oh, Josh Berry just gets him in the left rear. Spins the 28 out. Now it's an interesting point. So the interesting thing here is on the left side of your screen, those drivers like Nemechek, or here's a better way to look at it. Everybody with bright green tires on has put new tires on, but the key point is they've put their last set of new tires on. So Nemechek, Sammy Smith, Custer, they have over 10 green flag laps. Now Dillon, Joe Graf, Allgaier, Williams, they're going to come in and put their tires on. Now they will lose a position because Nemechek probably won't pit, but the only advantage they've had over the 20 all day, at least now they're going to have a little fresher tires. We'll see if it'll matter on only 39 laps, but I mean, that's kind of the reset we're getting ready to have.
So the caution comes out for the 7th time today. This one's for Kyle Sieg. He was running in the 27th position, 2 laps down. We saw the little hit by the 8 of Josh Berry that spun him around. Pit road is closed right now as everyone getting in line and position.
Yeah, I think the 21 right there of Hill. He was of the opinion that he was the last car in the lead lap, and I think NASCAR held him, let the pace car go by him. So he may be the first car 1 lap down. We'll have to just see what NASCAR has to say.
And there's a big difference between the first car 1 lap down and being in the lead lap. If you're in the lead lap, you line up, he would be lining up no worse than 16th. But when you get the wave around, you start at the tail end of the longest line. So that's a major difference.
And Herb's back there behind him. You think it's a major difference for him? He goes, wait, I was going to get the free pass. I think he was on the lead lap too. Let's put it back up there. Now it's about pit stops, and we're going to see, I don't know, I'm guessing about 10 of those 16, maybe 8 of those 16 cars come. The front 4 for sure. Mason Massey, I just mentioned his name. This is a great chance for him. Only his 3rd start this year, right? And now here he's going to be able to restart somewhere inside the top 15 in that 08 car.
This time by, it looks as though pit road is open, so we'll see how many takers we get. And of course, Austin Dillon, Joe Graf Jr. are on their way. Kim.
And Austin Dillon was going to stay out if it stayed green, but crew chief Alex Young topped off the box, said this changes everything. We have to come. You see the tires going on. Those are actually scuffs, 15-lap scuffs for Austin Dillon, Marty.
Joe Graf Jr. slides into a stall, makes contact with the wall a little bit right there. They have to pull him back. Now they're going to go right side tires. Interesting to see if Jason Ratcliffe goes with 4. He will go with 4. Meanwhile, on the bottom of your screen, Justin Allgaier, he was 12th when this cycle started under green flag conditions. We'll see where he cycles back out. Has to check up a little bit to get around the 35 car. Said the car was way too tight for Allgaier. He needed much more front turn in the center of the corner.
It's been a tough pit road, especially for Allgaier, who had an issue earlier, and now Joe Graf Jr. slides all the way into the wall. Crew able to do service and getting back out. Qualifying is complete. It was Christian Lundgaard who wins the pole and will lead the field to the green flag on the streets of Toronto. That's tomorrow exclusively on Peacock. Be sure to tune in and enjoy that one. The streets of Toronto, and they had to deal with a little bit of weather today during qualifying, but all smiles there for Christian Lundgaard as field now, after pit stops, are getting back in line. And while we have a moment, let's go back to Dave.
And Rick, you notice that John Hunter Nemechek has cycled to the front now in that 20 car. When I talked to front row John Hunter this morning about his race today, he said, we're making little tweaks to get our car right where I need it to be. Practice to qualifying, we made one change. It was good. And I believe qualifying to the race, we're going to do the same thing. I think all day long, they've just made this car increasingly better. And now that he's back in the point, John Hunter Nemechek is going to be hard to beat, Kim.
Well, Dave, twice has Sammy Smith climbed through the field. Once at the beginning, they had to drop to the rear after unapproved adjustments. Then he had a speeding penalty early. Remember, he won Phoenix earlier this year. I asked him, does that give you confidence in this race? He said, no, I'm not confident that we can win. What it does do for me is it gives me a better understanding, Marty, of what I need to just be successful in general at these short tracks.
Kim, keep an eye on Cole Custer. Finally has the track position they've kind of been seeking since the beginning of the race. Sitting in third right now. The team told him, hey, this 35-lap run should play to our advantage. We'll see. It took a long time for the car to come in last time, but Cole Custer, Rick, has won here in K&N, won here in trucks. Still looking for that first Xfinity win. Can it come today? We're going to find out.
in a good position. More than likely will start in the second row. We'll see as they're coming to the choose.
Well, that was the question I was going to ask Jeff. All right, where are you going? Nemechek top.
Nemechek top.
Sammy
Smith bottom. Cole Custer top. Let's see if I'm right.
So far, why don't you keep going?
Well, he just quit. I mean, you can't only take half the test, Jeff.
Quitting, you're ahead. Well, I got them all right. Well, I don't want to stop.
That's a good point. It will be 33 to go.
So, Rick, we talk a lot about the points of making the playoffs. Jeff and I were just having this discussion about the small decisions that make a difference, right? Riley Herbst, we saw him getting to the front stretch wall. I thought as day was done, the crew doing a great job of repairing this car. While it looks beat up, they've decided to stay out and take the wave around. That puts them plus 20 above Parker Kligerman, who's out of the race. Now, they might need a yellow, or maybe they could stretch the gas. It's going to be very close, but sitting in 18th, now there's a ton of points available. If he can get a yellow, he come in, put on some tires, and keep gaining points. Those are the small things, Jeff, that could change a year.
Races within a race. There's so many cars on track, it's hard to cover it all, but championships get won or lost, playoffs get made or not by 1 or 2 points. You have to be willing to gamble a little bit, and you have to get the very most you can, even out of bad days.
Restarts have been exciting, Rick. We'll see what kind of games are played here.
Yeah, well, Nemechek's on the outside again. Sammy Smith on the inside. We'll see how they do through the restart zone. Back up through the gears they go. 33 laps to go, and they're 4 wide as they come into 1.
Oh, I don't think the 9 can save it. Big, slow spin. What a save.
That was as wrecked as you can be without wrecking. I don't know how he did that.
And everybody gave him room behind, and you see it's, tied up back there. But now, tire rub, huge tire rub on the 8. And Josh Berry, we'll see if he's able to battle through this.
Yeah, I can't tell exactly where it's smashed in. Kind of above the tire, it looks like, straight down on top of it.
It's going to blow. It's going to blow. Bring it to me.
It's going to blow. Bring it to me. And as we were watching that, the 00 of Cole Custer, a short run cannon. This thing is really pressuring John Hunter Nemechek.
Yeah, the 8 of Josh Berry must have got hit behind that left front, and it pushed the fender down on top of the tire.
You wonder now, it's not smoking like it was. Do you keep going?
And Jeff, to your point, they told him on the radio, they told Josh Berry, if the smoke clears, it is your decision. So we've seen the smoke clear. Right now, Josh Berry's still on the racetrack. So that tire rub, maybe a false sense of urgency. Good thing they left him out on the racetrack.
Let's see how it happened.
He's the 4th car in line on the top. Oh, yeah, it's this big slide by the 9. Pushes the 20. Oh, it's right there. So the 2, excuse me, hits rear bumper to rear bumper. And then when the right front of the 2 slaps around, it dents it in and is really hard to see. But you can see it here. The seam is broken. That concerns me. The seam is broken right where it should say Goodyear. You only get the first 2 letters, and then it's caved in. I guess the good news, though, is it's maybe on the tread, not as much on the top of that sidewall.
Yeah, it continues to smoke. It cleared up, but every now and then we see it smoke. I'd be really nervous. I tell you, the other loser in that was Brandon Jones. You know what I mean? He was, looked like to me, he and Chandler Smith got together. Chandler was all against the wall on the bottom. Some contact with the 9 car.
How about Jeremy Clements? We haven't said his name, and he's the car to the right of Brandon Jones right there. It's hard to tell the colors because it's 2/3 duct tape. It's been put together, but he's currently running in the 11th position. So, man, talk about a recovery.
And Austin Hill, we just talked about, got the free pass. Here he is passing Clemens for 11th place, or trying to pass him.
He wants to play. He wants to get up in the mix.
28 laps remain. And Austin Hill completing the pass on Clemens. Now he'll set his sights on the 9, who was sideways. Brandon Jones was able to save that after the restart. But Austin Hill really making his way through. Josh Williams up inside the top 10 in that 92. Great run for Williams. Nemechek looking for win number 4 on the season out in front. Cole Custer, though, also wanting to add his name to the multi-win list. There's Sheldon Creed in the 2, and Creed fighting off a hard charging Josh Williams. That's for the 7th spot on the racetrack.
Yeah, he's got his hands full. Josh Williams, that top 10 in Atlanta, was only a 2nd of the season, best finish of the season. And I had mentioned earlier, 19th is his best run here at New Hampshire, and here he is battling Creed for the 7th position.
Newer tires on that 92 car. Here's the 16. Chandler Smith getting by the 18. Sammy Smith, not related in any fashion, but that's a surprising pass. Sammy just has not had to pace this run that he had earlier.
Colleague has really got to be happy with Chandler Smith in that 16. I mean, he's really I think the bright spot for Colleague most of the year. I know they've won a bunch more races with the 10, but they're using Cup drivers and All-Stars, and you know, this year for the 16 has been really impressive.
Again, he started the day by winning the pole, was out front, and now running in the top 3, Dave.
Steve, I was wondering the same thing about Colleague's opinion of him, so I asked President Chris Rice this morning about Chandler Smith, what he liked the most about him, and he said because he doesn't know how good he is yet. Remember that qualifying run he had yesterday? He came in and he told the crew, I thought that was a crummy lap. It was the pole lap. He was that good. He likes that humility, and he likes the fact that Chandler is going to get better as time goes along. Want to show you some video from yesterday regarding the one of Sam Mayer. We'll show you the teaching hands of 37-year-old Justin Allgaier. And that is 20-year-old Sam Mayer on the right, learning from the veteran here about running at New Hampshire Motor Speedway. I asked Sam about that this morning. He said, I'm 1,000% more confident about the race today than I was yesterday. He said, Justin and other drivers told me about things to do when my car wasn't right, because they said, your car's not going to be right here all day. I'm not doing anything wrong. I just learned what it was that I needed to do when my car wasn't perfect.
And now Sam Mayer is in front of the teacher, Justin Allgaier.
Yeah, he is in front. Both of them, you see the 7's damaged. The one of Mayer, I'm pretty impressed with. Remember, he slid through, all but slid through his pit box, got crammed up against the wall. They could not change the left side tires. So he is out there on 2 tires running in 5th position.
But how about this for Justin Allgaier, his teammate, after the contact, sliding through his pit stall earlier on, and then the contact on the racetrack once that jam up happened on the restart. They just won't quit, Jeff. They are in 6th right now. Allgaier running top 3 lap times as well, trying to get 5th from his teammate. He said something interesting. When he rolls front brake to it to fix the handling of the race car, Jeff, he said the left front wants to lock up. Is that something that sounds maybe familiar to you here at New Hampshire?
No question. You can see he's trying to get on the outside of Sam Mayer right here. But what happens is you're loose on entry, so you want to put front brake into it. But the setups on the car as you enter the corner, it makes the left front light. And so now if you put front brake to it, it slides the left front tire. It's something we deal with here, Martinsville, Richmond. So yeah, you want front brake to help the car handle better, but the left front tire, just if you put more braking force to it, it can't accept it, and you actually flat spot the tire, you can slide it so much.
Again, out front, Nemechek has a 1-second lead over Cole Custer. Then it's Chandler Smith, Sammy Smith, and Sam Mayer on the top 5. Allgaier, Creed, Austin Dillon, Josh Williams, and Brandon Jones are the top 10.
And Nemechek's still out by a second. Custer's not been able to make a run at him. Last few laps, Custer's been a little bit quicker.
He's doing a nice job, though. While a second is a big gap, he's close enough to John Hunter that when he catches traffic, I feel like he feels a little bit of urgency to get by him. Now, the good thing for John Hunter is he has a big gap, almost the whole backstretch to the next group of lap cars.
I thought the race that John Hunter ran last week at Atlanta that's what showed me where he is in maturity. He did not have the best car, not even close. Didn't have the best handling car, but he never put himself in a bad position, never got the car in the wall, didn't turn around on him. He just sat there and managed the problem, managed the problem. Other people had issues, and there he was to take advantage of it. That's when you couple that maturity and that decision making with his speed, that's when John Hunter Nemechek becomes a very dangerous driver to the competition.
You use that word maturity, and I think so many questions have gone around with John Hunter Nemechek, the son of Joe Nemechek. He bounced around, finding different rides. He settled in the Truck Series, won the 2021 Truck Series Championship, and then it was, where do I go? What level do I get to? Do I go to the Cup Series? Do I run in the Xfinity Series? And I think this season has really proven that the decision to run full-time with Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series, and right now he's the leader at 3 wins and potentially could add a 4th today. This has to put him as the front runner for a championship, especially as well as he's running here, knowing that Phoenix is where the champion is decided.
Yeah, because I believe he was the best car at Richmond, and they kind of got a little off on their strategy, which is easy to do at that tricky track. So I know that talking to John and talking to his crew chief Ben Bayshore right there below, they really want to come back here and prove to themselves more than anyone. Just they knew they were that good. They wanted to come get that win, bring that dominant type performance.
Yeah, and let's talk about Ben Bayshore also, because they are in very similar situations, right? John Hunter Nemechek ran a full year in Cup. Bayshore, Cup crew chief. They've both gone back down a ladder, a step on the ladder, right? Nemechek went to the Truck Series for a while. Now they're both in Xfinity Series together. So can this duo, much like we saw at Gibbs with Ty Gibbs and his crew chief moving up to Cup, can this duo at the next opportunity go up together? And that's something you'd like to see. You'd like to see drivers and crew chiefs building their relationship. Oh, there we go, caution.
Parker Retzlaff in the 31 around, bringing out the caution. That's 8 cautions now for the day. And a restart, and it's going to be a sprint to the finish.
Yeah, and that's not what John Hunter Nemechek wanted to see, because Cole Custer and a couple of those cars do fire off pretty good. Pretty heavy damage to the 31. I'm not sure anyone of the leaders have any tires left that I'm aware of. Oh, right rear tires down. I don't know if that's a before or after situation.
Let's take a look how it happened.
Oh, he's already looked sideways into the picture. I feel like that has to be a right rear tire going down. I just don't see him spinning that early. I mean, you look at the tires already almost off the rim. I'm not sure if it could go down that fast as he spun around. Hard to tell from that angle, but that would be my guess at what happened.
AMR safety crew immediately there to help out Parker. As he climbs out of the car, he'll make the mandatory trip into the infield care center. See a thumbs up there.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. This late in the race to have that kind of problem.
All right, who's best on restarts?
Well, listen, John Hunter has led 123 laps, so I'm not going to instantly say that somebody has an advantage over him, but it's way easier to run the last 8 laps with a second lead than it is to have to get through the restart zone. I'm telling you, we've seen it here so many times. Here in Atlanta, so easy to spin the tires. So now you're going to do it on hot tires. So you just can't step on the throttle. If you go to wide open, you're going to look like a top fuel dragster. You're going to have smoke coming off. You're not going to go anywhere. I mean, you have to time it right. John Hunter seems to want to wait very late in the zone so people accelerate quick. Maybe this time he'll go nice and early, try to catch everybody off guard, but it's going to be really, really tough to restart here.
We saw the tires up on the wall there. Is that somebody playing a little poker?
Well, I mean,
like, hey, I'm going to show you tires, but we're probably not coming.
Well, Josh Berry will probably come. He has a damaged left front fender. He's almost last car in the lead lap. Probably put some colder scuffs on. Remember, you know, earlier those stages were pretty short, so you have some older scuffs, but I don't believe Cole Custer in the 00 is going to pit from second. No, I think you stay out on these tires.
Pit road is open. We'll see if anybody chooses to come down. Marty?
So far, no takers, Rick. Let's chat with Jonathan Toney, crew chief for Cole Custer. So, seems like the cars really needed a long run. How do you feel about a little restart and a short run here, though?
Yeah, for sure. You know, the Haas Automation car's been really good on the long runs and got some laps on our tires now. Got a caution. I think we got the best little race car driver in the Xfinity Series, so we'll go race them and see what we can do here.
Is this where you hope his experience in the Cup Series pays off on a critical restart like this?
And for sure, you know, at the end of the day, when you got a driver Cole's caliber, just got to put him in a position. You know, we got him in a position, and so, yeah, we feel pretty confident about our chances here.
This is going to be fun to watch. Custer's needed those long runs to kind of take off, Rick, but this short run, we'll see if it pays off, and the restart's going to be huge here.
Yes, it will.
I spoke to Jonathan a few weeks ago, sat down and spent quite a bit of time with him, and if you want a Cole Custer cheerleader, that's your guy, because that guy believes wholeheartedly in Cole Custer. He told me that Cole Custer is the best driver in this series, and that Cole makes his job way easier. Jonathan said, I give him something close, Cole's going to drive it to the front. He had supreme confidence in Cole Custer's ability.
All right, so we talked about the choose a little bit ago, and you kind of cheated. It only took the first 2 cars or 3 cars.
Well, I'll take, how many you want me to take?
He took 3 cars,
so
and then he
let's
stopped.
talk about not only the choose, but Jeff, take me into these drivers, cleaning the rear tires off. We see them spin the tires. How do you prevent it? Like, if you're the leader versus the guy in second, what's your mindset?
Well, so let's work our way back just a little bit, right? John Hunter Nemechek, he's racing this racetrack quite a bit. He knows that the restart zone is very, very slick. He knows you're going to spin the tires. Cole Custer, he's won here before, so he knows it as well. That guy in that 16, I don't think he knows. I don't think he has that experience. He doesn't understand how bad the tires are going to be spinning on this restart. Sammy Smith in the second, also next to him. So the second row, I think that's where the not understanding of how the rear spin on old hot tires, how bad that can be. Nemechek and Custer, they should know it. But what do you do? How do you do that, right? And if you try, if Nemechek, in my opinion, tries to go late in the restart zone this time, like we saw him do earlier in the race, that's a disadvantage to him, because then you're having to launch at a high rate of speed. If you launch earlier, then you can accelerate a little bit cleaner and try to keep those rear tires from spinning. So if I'm Nemechek at this time, I'm going early in the zone. I'm going to check up a little bit, make them think what I'm going to do, but as the second I get to that restart zone, I'm going to start accelerating.
Okay, there you have it. The strategy is out there for the pop.
We had to drag it out of him, Rick, but he finally told us what he would do. He's not racing anymore. I told him he can start telling his secrets.
Yeah. Is that what you're going to do with the pace car tomorrow?
Yeah, to be clear, I lost more than I won.
But everyone has, by the way.
All right, so once again, I agree. Nemechek would take the top. Custer definitely the bottom. and then we'll see what the pair of Smiths do behind them. Everyone's just trying to move as far forward in the field as possible, the front 3 rows.
It's going to be 4 laps to go. Marty.
John Hunter Nemechek has led 126 laps. Ben Bayshore, how do you feel about the ability to close this out with your driver?
Yeah, hopefully we get a good restart here, and with a lot of laps on tires, it's going to be tough. You're probably going to see some guys buzzing tires, so hopefully get a good launch here and get out front and then kind of dictate where we need to run in our line. So I think I like our chances.
All right, there you go. Likes his chances up front, and John Hunter has been up front all day long, but we'll see how he does here on this restart, Rick.
He's going to have to close it out.
Ben's a quiet guy. You know, he's a really cool guy. I like Ben a lot.
See both the front row just accelerating, kind of trying to spin those rear tires, get the dirt and debris and the loose rubber cleaned off from right around under yellow.
Don't have to worry about heating them up. They're warm. All right. What can they do? John Hunter Nemechek, he's been out front for 126 laps. Can he finish it out with the final 4?
3, 2, 1, be ready, going.
Oh, you called it early in the zone.
On your tight.
That inside lane checked up just a bit, and Nemechek able to clear.
Oh, the 18 gets into the rear bumper of the 1. The 1 goes
Ambetter
around, stacked up behind him.
Yeah, he's around. The 19, a lot of damage for Joe Graf Jr. Caution has come out again. That's number 9. Austin Dillon involved. You see him in the 10, the 24 of Connor Mozak. Got flames coming out of Joe Graf Jr.
It's so many times
Stay
in this
down on the
racetrack,
apron, it's out.
we see cautions right after restarts. It gets wild into turn 1. The cars don't make good grip. We've seen multiple times how difficult the launch zone is. 98 car with, I couldn't tell if it's more damage or not. Connor Mozak with damage. Uh-oh, just get this thing
still
stopped.
Flames coming out from under the hood.
Get out,
Joe Graf
get out.
Jr. They had said they thought it went out, but it looks like it's flamed back up again, and so he's going to climb out, take another look at what happens.
I think it's contact between the 18 and the 1, so you see the 7 going to go to the bottom. The black and gold car kind of accelerates. It just hits the 1 right square in the back bumper. And around Sam Mayer goes. I mean, they're on hot tires, old tires. There's not a lot of grip on this racetrack anyway. So let's take another look. The 1 definitely comes in. I mean, he's clear of the 18, though, and then right here, the 18 just gives him a shot in the rear bumper. I don't know how else to look at that.
Yeah, remember the 1 car is on 2 tires. I don't know, everybody else had 4 tires. They're all old, but I don't know if that hurt the speed of the 1 car, and it was just a misjudging.
Tight here, bumper 7, still outside, now inside. Middle here, getting wrecked. All right, come on top, yep. Yellow here, yellow.
Listen to the throttle as we go on board again with Sammy Smith. Like he went to the throttle for just a second and came back off of it. Again, I just think a misjudgment of the speed of the 1 car.
I agree. I mean, did he cause the 1 to spin? Absolutely.
No question.
Did he intentionally go in there and wreck the 1? I don't think that was his goal. I mean, you could definitely tell they were slowed up because the 7 roll on the bottom was kind of passing them both. So, I mean, listen, if you're Sam Mayer, you're not very happy with the 18.
No.
They're going to have to discuss it after.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people aren't happy. I mean, look at all, a lot of damage from a lot of different cars, but just thought the 1 was going to be going quicker than he was.
So a lot of work for a few cars to get back out on the track for overtime from New Hampshire. Nemechek out front. Cole Custer's going to start next to him. We'll be going overtime at New Hampshire, and that means another restart. Well, it has been eventful for restarts today, guys.
We've seen the 20 of John Hunter in most of them. He's led a lot of laps, and early on, a nice clean restart for the 20. This is how you want it to look. You're the leader. You accelerate nice and clean and easily clear the guy in second.
All right, let's show the opposite of that. That's right here. Just a big stack up. The inside line did not get going. Just a chain reaction wreck.
And then wheel spin. You see the car on the inside, the 18 just spinning the tires and can't get going. The 2 pushing them. Then the 9 goes in and gets contact by the 16, and then full-on drift.
The latest one we saw driving to turn 1, everything looks pretty calm, and then right here, 18 car in the back of the 1 car, big spin in front of the field, many cars got collected. The common denominator in every one of those is the inside line not being able to go. So if you watch restarts here and you watch those restarts, the inside does not launch like the outside, and it stacks everybody up on the inside. So now if you're Chandler Smith, what lane do you pick? Do you dare say, okay, I'm gonna go with the 20 car. I'm gonna be on the outside. I'm gonna give the 00 the bottom, but I'm gonna go with the 20 and try to launch with him, enter turn 1 on his rear bumper, rough him up a little bit and try to get the win, because we haven't seen anybody on the inside be able to go into turn 1 side by side with leader. So why not try something different, Marty?
Yeah, let's ask Bruce Schlicker about that. So your young drivers up there in second. Has there been debate about what lane to choose? Because obviously the outside worked pretty well for you there.
Man, I think it's just front row. P3, the outside's definitely the way to go, but give yourself a shot on the front here. Hopefully have a good restart, good couple clean laps, and bring a top 5 race car home. Wherever we finish, we'll take it and be happy with the day.
I know Chandler has asked for some medical help after the race. Can you update us as to what's going on?
It's hot and humid out here, so he just needs some fluids, get rehydrated there at the end of the race, but I know he's digging deep right now, so we got all the faith in the world in him.
There you go, Jeff. You know what? On a final restart like this with the race on the line, I think you can put pretty much everything out of your mind if a trophy is often on the offering.
There's no doubt, Marty, and I think that, you know, hot, humid, sticky, that it is very hot here. This is a high braking racetrack, a lot of temp in the cars, but with a chance to win, all that goes away. And you just got to focus on this. It all starts with this restart, Steve.
So I like, because there was an interesting interview, because I heard 2 different sides, which is I agree with your chance to win is to start on the front row and hope John Hunter spins his tires or make a mistake. But then he said we just want a good solid top 5, and I think your best chance at that is starting on the outside row and follow the leader. I think you end up second. So if you decide to start in the inside row, I think you're going to lose second spot if you don't win the race. It's like, you know, it's kind of a tough decision. You have to decide what your priority is, but I like the risk and try to win.
I do too. I like the inside line, but you know, it could be a little tempting to try something different.
John Hunter Nemechek has been the best pretty much all season long, spreading out all 3 of his wins already.
I took a gamble on myself.
Way to stomp them, guys. Good job.
And step back from the NASCAR Cup Series and try and revamp my career.
Hammer down, checkered flag, and John Hunter Nemechek wins.
This is one of the best opportunities that I've had in my lifetime.
Hell yes. Thank you, guys. I appreciate everything that you guys do.
Second one of the year. Let's go in dominating fashion.
Nemechek is going to win in Atlanta.
Come on. Hell yeah, boys!
I'm blessed with the situation that I'm in.
Yeah!
Best position he's been in racing. Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series, running for a championship. You see his numbers. Average finish 7.8. Very few times has he been outside of the top 10. As a matter of fact, only 3 times. A 27th place finish at Coda, Talladega 32nd, and a 16th at Sonoma. Everything else has been inside the top 10 for John Hunter Nemechek.
Well, he's got another shot right here, and a great one. You'd love to be able to control the restart in New Hampshire with a few laps to go. Exactly what he's going to be doing. We're coming to the choose right now.
Look at all the names on the left side too, having good runs, right? You got Alex LeBay and 12th, and you some different drivers that are making the most out of a little bit of the chaos at the end of this race. Oh, 16 chooses the top.
He's going to stay behind Nemechek.
Jeff, they must have heard you.
Cole Custer gets that front row restart.
So now what's on Chandler Smith's mind, right? He did this because he's seen the inside line. It has not launched all day. It's easier to spin your rear tires when you're reacting to the restart of the 20 car on the outside. So now Chandler Smith, what he wants to do is he want to lay back like maybe a half a car length and then try to build some momentum to the rear bumper of the 20. But don't hit him. When you hit the guy in front of you all day long, it's made that car spin the rear tires, and that slowed your line up. So the temptation, Steve, is to push the car in front of you. That doesn't work here on the launch. You can do it past the start-finish line, but if you try to do it early in the restart zone, it will completely destroy that line.
And that's exactly what Cole Custer hopes the outside line does. Make some contact, get some wheel spin on the 20.
It comes down to 2 laps, 2 miles to determine the race winner here. Back in front of the grandstands they come. It's overtime, presented by Credit One Bank.
Green.
The outside line is working. Up the racetrack comes the 00. Sheldon Creed in the 2 trying to take advantage. A great restart for Nemechek. He pulls away. He's got over a car length between himself and Chandler Smith. Coming back to the white flag. One more time around. And around goes the 2.
They're wrecking behind you. Stay green.
The caution comes out. That will end the race.
We took the white. That'll be bring it back around for the checker.
Cole Custer was on the outside of the 2 of Creed.
Heck yeah!
That was a hard-fought win for Nemechek, having to have a couple good restarts toward the end of this race to stay out front.
Chandler Smith picking that outside line, finishes second.
Thank you, guys. What a dominant performance. I appreciate it. This car was absolutely amazing.
Comes around to the
Great job, man.
checkered
Really
flag with the caution waving.
You boys, I appreciate it. Happy birthday, Gamey. Happy birthday, Mitch. Fusion 3.
You said it, Jeff. The 00's on the outside of the 2, and it looks to me like the 2's going to try to take him all the way up the racetrack. And I think Custer's made the decision that I'm going to stay here. Then Custer maybe gets a little loose. It comes off the wall and catches the 2. I think there's definitely going to be a disagreement between those 2.
Yeah, I think the way you called it's 100% right, though. The 2 had the 00 up the racetrack a little bit, but then Custer got loose, and when he did, the front of the car came down and caught the right rear quarter panel of the 2 right there.
Turns him around. They get hooked. Watch the 7 sneak through here.
Woo. Very tight, and then you just see the stack up behind him. Oh, Josh Williams in the 9-2. Does he keep going? Oh, he kind of does. He sneaks through right there.
That 98 car, we've documented he had trouble. He was going to finish about 14th until that happened. Here he comes.
Impressive burnout. John Hunter Nemechek does some donuts at the start-finish line. Then a burnout all the way back into turn 4. Stay with us right here on USA till the top of the hour for NASCAR America post-race. Here from race winner John Hunter Nemechek. In just a moment, his 6th career win. 10 cautions in this race. Most of the cautions came on restarts. They were difficult today, but not for John Hunter Nemechek, who was out front for 137 laps today, meaning he was dictating when they would go on those restarts. The 199th win for Joe Gibbs Racing. Getting close to that magic number 200. Dave?
And now John Hunter, after giving the folks in the grandstands a nice look at the winning smile underneath the helmet. We'll get a look at the winning smile without the helmet on. And a dominating performance. He said it to his crew as he was coming around in the cool down laps. 137 laps led today. I believe that was somewhat of a statement to the rest of the teams.
Yeah, it definitely was. Man, I am so proud of this whole 20 team, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing. Just thankful for the opportunity. Thank you, Jack Irving, Tyler Gibbs, David Wilson, so many people at Toyota, the whole Gibbs family. Joe Gibbs, wish Coy was here to celebrate with us. He was a huge advocate for this to happen this year, and can't thank him enough. But man, Persil, Pro Clean, this thing looked clean on the racetrack today. Had, I think, our first clean race all year, so that's really good. But hats off to all of our guys, everyone at Joe Gibbs Racing. Our Toyota GR Supra was as fast as Xfinity 10G, that is for sure. So happy birthday, Mitch. Happy birthday, Brian Gainey. Hopefully we can celebrate their birthdays. And Taylor and Aspen aren't here, they're home. So hi Aspen, hi Tay. We'll celebrate when we get home. And huge shout out to all of the fans for being here. This is an amazing crowd. I love coming up here. And then one more huge shout out to another driver. He knows who he is. We've been texting quite a bit this weekend, and he's one of the masters here. He may be on the pole for tomorrow, so good luck.
So, given that, you had late race restarts that were very, very good, but you didn't need them. You had a huge lead, and then you had to survive those last restarts.
Yeah, we definitely did. I was a little worried there on the last restarts. We kept getting really good launches, and we were able to clear them, but I didn't know who was saving what. I was trying to save in front of Cole until he started pushing there. He definitely was going to give us a run for our money, but hats off to all the men and women at Joe Gibbs Racing, everyone at Toyota TRD, and just blessed to have this opportunity. I'm the lucky guy that gets to sit behind the wheel of this 20 car every weekend.
And you can say Seabell's name. He helped you out.
yeah. Thank you.
All right, Christopher Bell helping out John Hunter Nemechek. Nemechek with the victory today. And what about tomorrow? We shall see. Another 20 car, Rick?
Could be the 20. It could be a